terrorism in Nigeria. In this regard, the United States Africa Command Africa announced the delivery of military supplies to its Nigerian partners in Abuja. While AFRICOM or quantity of equipment provided, the support comes at a critical time. Meanwhile, residents in parts of Sokoto State have fled in large numbers following threats by notorious bandit leader Bello Turji, who threatened communities for refusing to align with him. The threats reportedly sparked widespread panic, forcing many residents to seek refuge in Isa town, Gidan Hamisu, and a neighboring Shinkafi area of Zamfara State. Okay, let's look at the first chapter of this conversation. The question is simple: this delivery of this equipment. What's the purpose of this delivery? Okay. The question is very simple. What's the purpose?
No, definitely, you know the purpose.
I'm asking
because we've been after the whole noise about Christian genocide and all. We sent a delegation to the U.S. They also came to Nigeria, and eventually they went back. They did their own reports, and they saw that there was sincerity in our part to be able to tackle, terrorists in our soil. Okay, and they noticed that it is not just simple terrorists. These are ISIS members, and and ISIS have infiltrated into Nigeria. And then the best thing is for them to help us. And if you notice, it didn't take long for this equipment to come to Nigeria. They saw the need for Nigeria to use it, and removing the lay law away, because normally you are supposed to go through that route for us to be able to, get this equipment. But Donald Trump waived that for us, and we are able to get this equipment. Now, this equipment is for us to deal with terrorists in every way and in any way possible, because they did that. Donald Trump assisted us by going gun blazing in December 25th, which is Christmas Day. And we saw the impact. And after that, I don't know if Nigerians have been listening. We've been recording successes. Our military have been recording successes.
The Air Force.
Especially the Air Force. And these successes the precision has been accurate. They know where these people are. They go there and then they strike. They go back and then our guys go and then they mop up. Nigerians may not know that. Those who don't love Nigeria will not know that. But we know that we've been making gains in terms of, attacking these guys and, removing them from the surface of the earth. Okay? Now, apart from that, we've been getting, the American government has also been assisting us in ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, they've been doing that consistently for us, and also telling us on how we can attack these guys. Intelligence gathering between Nigeria and America has strengthened. People don't know.
Okay.
All right, so listen up. State Farm.
Oh,
there we go.
So, hello.
Hello.
I mean, how much of this is state TV? And I found that quite interesting. It's still going, by the way. We could play some more of it if you want to.
Yeah, sure. But at least there is a good time to pause and comment, because he's already saying some things that need some pushback. Sounds like this man is not either completely deluded or duped by some propaganda, or he is a paid propagandist.
Right, exactly.
Comprador trying to sell Nigeria out to Britain and the U.S.,
Well, Nigeria has always... Oh, sorry. I thought you would...
Go ahead. No, go. I'm done.
Nigeria has always been like the puppeteer country. Like that's known and has been known for years. So this doesn't surprise me, the way that this is being framed.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure about always, but at least since.
Well, I meant for a long time now. Not always.
Yeah, but this is where we can get into some of the articles that I have about like the history of Nigeria, particularly during the Cold War, and how the Soviet Union and the US fought over Nigeria. And it seems that Nigeria fell on the side of the West, and as a result of that struggle, and that's where they get the reputation of always being, the puppet country.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a time where it was up for grabs, where it was seen as a fertile ground for revolution, and there was hope for some socialism in Nigeria, and it was important to squash that.
And they had to squash that. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my clicker. Okay, let me see.
But also, you might say the failures or the mistakes of the Soviet Union, like observing what happened in a country like Nigeria, might be revealing of what the Soviet Union maybe did right or wrong, kind of thing. So.
Okay, well, we'll play a little bit more of this, and then we'll get into those details.
They can't just do that. For instance, if they say, okay, they want to attack a particular place, and we don't have the equipment, they want to assist. They are the ones that will say, okay, this is the kind of equipment that you use, and that is what they are supplying to Nigeria to be able to. They won't tell us. I know in the media they've told us this is what they've some of the things they've sent. This is how many it is. We can't say how many and what the equipment. We can't come here and begin to mention.
I don't think it's even proper.
It's also
strategic enough
to let the world know.
Very, very strategic.
Yeah,
because they can't come back. You can't come here and begin to tell you they gave us. You can tell you that okay, they gave to Kano.
You are revealing your strength to the enemy.
Exactly.
And you know where to attack you.
What we should do as Nigerians is for us to say, America, thank you, and then begin to support the government, support the military in terms of getting accurate intelligence gathering to them, pass the information to them, and then they will do the rest. That is the only support we need. People who are always going outside or going on social media abuse, the military. Oh, they've killed 10 soldiers. I don't know why people should be happy. Those are
America,
people who are even allowing us to even have our eyes closed for even 1 hour. But they are not sleeping.
All right. Okay. All right, gentlemen, we need to go on this quick break. But when we return, I'm going to ask you, are you confident that now that we have this equipment?
Yeah, you need to go on break.
I'm not sure that there's much to hear from him that would be of use. He sounds like he's just a bit of a bootlicker, or more than a little bit.
More than a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, did you know that you're my podcast husband?
Podcast husband? Oh, where's this? Hi. Sounds good. My work wife?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling. Sure.
You've been declared to be my podcast husband.
Are you proposing to me?
Yeah. Well, it depends. Are you going to accept?
Well, I accept. I don't want to embarrass you.
Yeah,
not just to.
Here. Hell no.
No. I accept beyond reasons for saving face.
That's funny, especially after we had our first little.
Well, yeah, I got a little bit upset. Maybe a lot of people haven't watched it. We did a very, very long stream, and there was towards the end of it, not too many people tuning in after all. But
because it was really late.
We got going too long. I got cranky and tired, and
and I got drunk.
Mixing alcohol with the stream is usually a recipe for disaster, especially when you play with fire by going on and too long. So
I definitely had fun though.
Yeah, no, it's something that you're gonna play with fire, learn what you're doing, whatever. Like there was reminds me of I don't know if you know who Ugopnik is. He has a podcast. I don't know if it's what it's called, but I think so. He's like a Eastern European. He's an Eastern European Marxist guy. He's been pretty funny. He has also a podcast. He's one of 3 co-hosts on a podcast called the D Program or the D Program or something. With you maybe have heard of Second Thought. That guy, I forget what his name is, but there was and Hakeem. They're been around in the podcast space for a really long time. They're like the veteran Marxist YouTubers. So
Rondo
people
said I was. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I got a little carried away with my rage. I can get like that. So.
And hi, Wolfie.
What's up, Wolf?
You're
Wolf
fine. So anyway, back to Nigeria, right? Do you want to start with a video? I have gosh, it's like a 4-minute clip about it's Tucker Carlson, by the way, which Tucker Carlson has been outed as being controlled opposition. I don't know if you heard about that.
Oh, well, of course.
Like, as much as he's saying Venezuela is bad, what we're doing, this and that, we shouldn't be there, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that. And when all the oil tycoons went to talk to Trump, Tucker Carlson was right there clapping when Trump comes in, and like, why are you here? Why are you there?
Yeah. Well, not so
don't agree with
for
this.
me. Yeah, but for those like people who have yet to whatever catch up, that Tucker Carlson's was never independent. You know, that should be enough to wake them up. But I don't really think it will. It's not going to change anything, right? Like,
right. So Lance, that's actually not true. He got outed for that too. Like in 2024, he had mentioned his dad was a part of the CIA. And then I think and then they were showing when his dad died, because then he says in 2025, I didn't know my dad was a CIA until after he died. And he died like in 2025 or something. So how'd you know in 2024?
It'd be interesting to do a little case study to see how many media personalities have fathers from the CIA, because there's like the older example is it Anderson Cooper? I don't know if his father was. He isn't he like a CIA guy in the media? And then
he comes from the Vanderbilts.
Right.
He's a Vanderbilt.
So there's powerful families involved in the CIA, involved in the media. So then there's him. There's Andrew Tate. His father was the CIA involved, and we mentioned Max Blumenthal several times.
All of these coinky-dinks.
So it wouldn't be out of like so far out of the question for Tucker. Like he's more the obvious asset out of any of them. You know what I mean? Well, Anderson Cooper really obvious, but like if you the more that you look into it, it'd be funny. Like how you see, like
I think there's this I could try to find it and we can come back to this later if you want. But it was like this chart showing Tucker Carlson and how he's connected to, like all these tentacles coming off of him with CIA written all over it.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson is old, what does it say?
Old TV dinners money. Like the Swanson whatever company.
Oh, sure is, isn't he?
That's where his money comes from. It's funny.
I forgot about that.
Sell the garbage on TV, sell the garbage that the people eat while watching the garbage. So And how's it going, Lance, by the way? Good to see you.
Yep. So
everybody on TV works for the company in one way, shape, or form. Well, I hope that doesn't include us, but I guess that's one thing that I regret about having to be on YouTube is that while we try to do what we're doing for ourselves and our people here, we may be inadvertently doing some work for people like CIA, YouTube. I feel like same fucking difference at this point. So,
well, I can tell you, my dad did not work for the CIA, neither did my mom.
Yeah,
I can say that with confidence.
Me too. I have no suspicions whatsoever, and I'm quite confident that there's no connections to any Canadian or American intelligence in my family at all.
Tucker Carlson, High Extra, by the way, has been terrible since his bow tie CNN days when Jon Stewart dogged him out. I never watched that.
Yeah.
I didn't know I know Jon Stewart talked about them a lot, but
I don't watch much CNN, and I never watched Jon Stewart or those late night shows much.
I used to watch Jon Stewart all the time. I thought he was hilarious.
They have of course, like any, like everyone's got their moments, but in general, I never really, maybe I don't have the best sense of humor. Too serious sometimes, but I don't like those comedy, whatever, skit comedy late night shows.
I do. I like Josh Johnson. And no, my parents weren't on TV. No.
But they were definitely better back like in the 90s or whatever. Back in the day, those late shows were definitely better. Now, like everyone even people who like those shows say all these late night shows are shit.
Yeah, I kind of stopped. What turned me off to the late night shows is when Stephen Colbert, like, he became the character that he was playing, right? That wasn't an act. Like, he is a kind of like the Colbert Report. And I noticed it like when he left Colbert and went to be a late night talk, whatever. He still was like bobbling his head with the same talking points.
Yeah,
and I was like, wait, you're not the character anymore, right?
That maybe is something that happens with a lot of actors or media personalities. It does become hard to separate yourself from the role. Whatever, your mask becomes your face.
Hi, Black Life. So Black Life has been getting really pissed off. She doesn't like watching those like Jon Stewart and stuff anymore, because she's like, we need to stop making jokes about this shit.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Lance saying, lighten up, Michael. I know I kind of do need to, but as much as I need to lighten up, there's too many people that are way too bright. And not in a good sense, like
we're not angry enough.
No, like they're not smart. They're not bright, smart. Where they're like happy-go-lucky, having the best time of their life. Where America's greatest country in the world. I don't see nothing wrong with everything. What economic crisis? What are you talking about?
Right.
Those people need to have the world shattered a little bit.
We're doing just fine. Okay, so I'm going to play this, and then you could take it away with one of your articles. Sure. This guy, I forget his name, but it's going to show you exactly who he is as it goes on. I don't know why that just did that. All right.
Jerry, pretty well.
I do.
What is the truth about what's going on? Well, and I ask because you've got credibility. You know the country, and you're spending the rest of your life defending Christians around the world. Tell me what the actual truth of Christian persecution in Nigeria is.
Well, let's be very clear.
Okay. He's an international attorney, and I think he lived in Nigeria for a long time or something like that. But anyway, go ahead.
That the Nigerian government is populated by Christians and Muslims. I have represented in his earlier life the national security advisor of Nigeria when he was a young man, and he's a lovely individual, and caring and universally respected in terms of religious issues. Devout Muslim, but universally respected. In my adopted family in Lagos, the Odesanya family sort of adopted me when I was a very, very young man, and living there. I sort of have a half brother there, Dapo Odesanya. That family is a totally integrated family, Muslim, Christian. I was always teased that I was a Yoruba, which is a Jewish Yoruba. But I mean, there have always been tribal conflict. I spoke to the foreign minister before I came here because I wanted to get clarity on the government's position. Absolutely, let's be clear, President Tinubu's wife is a Christian pastor. This is not targeted at Christians. There are probably an equal or more number of Muslim deaths. I am grateful to President Trump
Oh my goodness.
for identifying these attacks on Christians. Believe it or not, you can blame some of this on the French, who had this.
I do. I know nothing about it, but I believe you anyway.
They had a massive force in the Sahel. They armed the Tuaregs, which are a notoriously aggressive tribal group. That arming has led to mass killings of Christians. The fact that when Libya blew apart, a massive amount of arms went down to Boko Haram can't be denied by anyone. Nigeria.
What does he mean when Libya blew apart? You mean like when we blew Libya up?
That part, but he probably wouldn't actually connect the dots. I don't know what it would be like, if it would be some kind of denialism, or he knows and he can't say it. Because this is the thing about academia in the West. Like they run interference for the empire. They're not critical enough of who's actually responsible for the chaos, because they're trying to make some kind of advocacy that the U.S. can be of assistance there. It's
Right.
no,
You heard him
not if they're the
thank
ones
President
causing
Trump.
it. Yeah. It's when you create the genocide, you have to have legal people create the arguments or the narratives that deny the culpability. So as much as they sound like they are acknowledging the truth, if you closely listen to what they're saying, you recognize that legal culpability is not really being actually accomplished.
I'm glad he did mention though that about the French, because that was really important. Because we kind of talked about this before, how Nigeria is an important country to invade because of its proximity to Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Hi, Jacqueline. Hi, Sean.
What's up, guys? Thanks for everyone popping in.
So 1 minute and a half left.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's interesting, though, what he's saying about acknowledging the French is kind of maybe trying to push some blame onto them instead of the U.S., right? But what is he saying here, really? Because the French ostensibly were fighting Boko Haram, the Muslim terrorists. So he's saying that they armed the Tuaregs to fight the Muslims, and then the Tuaregs went and killed the Christians. So it's a little bit like it's a claim that maybe needs to be assessed a little bit, because I don't really know the history that he's talking about. I have to go do more research on that.
Yeah, he's definitely saying that the genocide thing is a farce, though. But let me pull it back a little bit. So, okay, let me pull it back about right here.
Yeah. Okay.
Fact that when Libya blew apart, a massive amount of arms went down to Boko Haram can't be denied by anyone. Nigeria wants to consult with the United States. Nigeria wants assistance in protecting Christians and Muslims, protecting their populations. Nigeria feels it has not had a fair shake from Washington. And I'm not, I don't work for Nigeria. I'm not going to go on and on. The foreign minister is a close friend who I respect deeply. But I can tell you from my work, I was privileged to represent one of the Nigerian states years ago, Akwa Ibom. We won a case actually for them. The Nigerians would welcome American assistance with open arms. So this is unlike Ukraine, which is destroying its church, or Armenia, which is destroying its church. Here you have a government that wants to protect its populace, doesn't have the resources. Nobody's going to deny Nigeria's been racked by corruption all the years I've known it. But they want a new deal, a new relationship with Washington, and in part to assist them in protecting Christians. So when I read some of what I've been reading, I'm never going to say that Ted Cruz isn't a brilliant man. But I'm going to say I might have a little more time in Nigeria than he does.
You hear this, right? I'm not imagining this shit.
Who the fuck says that with a straight face?
Well, he is Jewish, so that needs to be said.
That's supposed to be like a slight against Ted Cruz in his mind, because he said, "I would never say that," but he hasn't been on the ground like I have. Is that what he's trying to say? Like,
I don't know what he's trying to say, but that threw me off. Okay,
that was funny.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go.
We're going to say that Ted Cruz isn't a brilliant man. But I'm going to say I might have a little more time in Nigeria than he does. And I would welcome him to speak to the foreign minister or others, because one thing America doesn't need are more enemies. Africa is the future.
Ah, interesting.
And they know this, man.
So obviously that guy is not,
put America first. This is
sorry.
Obviously that guy's not on Team Trump.
So the title down here says "No Christian Genocide in Nigeria."
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, obviously that guy's not on Team Trump because he saying America doesn't need any more enemies and Africa's the future. Right. This is like the multipolarity people. The America's, doesn't need to reassert its imperialist Monroe Doctrine stuff. That would be dangerous for America. We need friends right now. So that is he maybe on the Democrat side of whatever. But the duopoly is false. You don't want to get caught up, right?
Yeah, it was such a short clip, so I'd have to go on Tucker's show and find the whole thing and watch it. He says, I can read what this Trump's claim of Christian genocide in Nigeria are bogus, says the U.S. Attorney Robert Amsterdam. So this is just a little short clip. You didn't really get to hear that part of what he was kind of saying. Sure. That Robert, he lays into his. I'm reading the description of the. Yes. Right here. Right. Trump's claim of Christian genocide in Nigeria are bogus, says the U.S. Attorney. Robert Amsterdam lays into his president during a Tucker Carlson interview, pointing out terrorists have also killed thousands of Muslims in the West African country. He also blames France, as well as NATO's destruction of Libya, NATO's destruction,
clear there,
for the rise of extremists in the region. Recently, Trump threatened to invade Nigeria, guns a-blazing, to save prosecuted Christians, while U.S. Senator Ted Cruz accused Nigeria's leaders of allowing the massacre. Around 50,000 Christians and 35,000 moderate Muslims have been killed in Nigeria by jihadists since 2009, according to NGO Inter-Society. So that's what that says.
Well, they cherry-picked their NGO to give the numbers of the Christians dying in much larger numbers than the Muslims, when I've seen conflicting reports that actually there's more Muslims dying than Christians. That wouldn't go with the narrative, though. So let's pick the other NGO.
Right. And no, Rondo, you did not tell us peace, 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 fam yet. So thank you for that. You gotta step up your game. We're expecting the peace, 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 fam when we see your name. All right. Are you ready for your
Yeah. So as far
are we
as,
gonna go into the history first, or?
yeah, well, I want to kind of bring up this Nigerian civil war, because when they're talking about no Christian genocide here, I think what their motives there is to try and bring about a resurgence of this civil war that happened. There was a conflict called the Biafra War. Let me see, where's the correct whatever one to start with? There it is. Okay. But so there was this Biafra War. There was like a separatist movement for
That's me. Wait,
a secessionist state. I believe it was in the southeast. The south of the country is the more Christian part, and the west is, or the north is the more Muslim. So I'm thinking that if Nigeria is trying to join BRICS and trying to diversify its trade in oil to de-dollarize, America is going to try and have a resurgence of this secessionist movement. And
wait, is Nigeria trying to join BRICS? That's news to me.
I think so. Yeah. I don't know.
I can look it up while you're.
I have some tab. It's probably one of my tabs that I recalled here. So I had to. We had done all this. I had already done all this research like a couple of weeks ago, and then the thing happened with Venezuela, and I recognized I kind of have to dump this for now, shelve this project, and then we have to talk about the Venezuela thing, and now the Iran thing is happening, and so we're gonna forget about this Nigerian strike. So I want to maybe cover this before it's too late.
Oh, this is.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, and I did confirm that they were trying to become a BRICS partner. Okay, that was news to me. I don't know if that's news to other people in that.
Yeah, it's one of these things that we need to, every time there's a new conflict, new Gen Z protest, we need to ask the question, are they in the process or have they tried to join BRICS? And so that's
and these articles are from January, so this is a recent this is kind of breaking news, I guess.
Yeah. Well, this January is the thing about everyone thinks like you hear people say like, I'm sure everyone knows by now, and then they go saying something that like, because you can tell that they've been online a little bit more than others. No, a lot of people don't hear a lot of things. So you should stop assuming that everybody knows what we know.
That's true.
Let me change this banner down.
Half the time, I don't know what I know. So
exactly. Good point. Not just you, all of us.
I have the banner. Go ahead.
Okay, good. So let me just read this little bit here. Nigerian Civil War, also known as the Biafran War, Nigeria-Biafra War or Biafran or Biafra, okay, was an armed conflict fought between Nigeria and the Republic of Biafra, a secessionist state which had declared its independence from Nigeria in 1967. During the war years, Field Marshal Gowon served as the head of state of Nigeria, while Biafra was led by Lieutenant Colonel Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu. The conflict emerged from political, ethnic, cultural, and religious tensions that preceded the United Kingdom's formal decolonization of Nigeria from 1960 to 1963. I don't like how they wrote that. Was it the United Kingdom carried about the formal decolonization, or did Nigeria was the one who decolonized itself? But maybe you could say the way that the UK and Nigeria and the US still have a nice, cozy relationship, that it was not Nigerians who carried out their own decolonization, which is the problem to this day, right? So Immediate causes of the war in 1966 included a military coup, a counter-coup, anti-Igbo pogroms in the northern region. As a consequence of these pogroms, alongside the mass exodus of surviving Igbos from the northern region to the Igbo homelands in the eastern region, the leadership of the eastern region concluded the Nigerian federal government was either unwilling or unable to guarantee them an adequate protection. Therefore, the only remaining solution seemed to be to secure their compatriots' security by establishing a sovereign and independent country of Biafra. And when I asked the question, I read this and I have to ask myself the question, what is the religious identification of the Igbo people today? And the answer I came up with is they are 90%, 98% identify as Christian.
Christian,
so
yeah.
Can we say, maybe with some a little bit confidence of an educated guess, that this narrative about an anti-Christian genocide is maybe trying to revive this anti-Igbo kind of Biafran split? With all we gotta split the country because those dangerous Muslims in the north just won't leave us alone.
Well, that's good. So Black Life is reassuring us, said, please don't assume. And then she says, you'd be surprised how much everyday people know or how little. And exactly. Sean says he's never heard of Biafra. So cool. So we're on the right track.
I never heard about it until a couple weeks
ago. Oh, okay.
I only learned about it because of Trump bombed Nigeria.
I know about Igbos and because Nigeria is people in Nigeria come to Louisiana a lot to go to, and Baton Rouge more specifically, to go to Louisiana State University. So when I was in college, I met plenty of people from Nigeria.
Interesting. That's good, right? We can have a little bit of insight into some of what's going on based on some of the people we met in our personal lives. That's why it's good to not be racist against people, like, and actually want to meet your neighbors that are from different cultures. You know, there's that problem.
The food is delicious.
Yeah, not just the food, but they're also very interesting cultures. You know, beyond that. So,
yep.
So I see a little bit of a parallel here when there's a coup and a counter coup, and then some like pogroms. That sounds like what's familiar to what happened with Somalia. You guys remember what we were reading about that? So within a year, Nigerian government troops surrounded Biafra while capturing coastal oil facilities and the city of Port Harcourt. In the aftermath of the Nigerian military's encirclement of the major part of Biafra, a blockade was imposed as a deliberate policy during the ensuing stalemate, which led to the mass starvation of Biafran civilians. During the 2.5 years of the war, there were approximately 100,000 overall military casualties, while between 500,000 and 2 million Biafran civilians died of starvation. So there's a genocide right there. Alongside the concurrent Vietnam War, the Nigerian Civil War was one of the first wars in human history to be televised to a global audience. So there was the first televised global genocide, but we keep hearing the claim about Gaza being the first globally televised, you know. So there's a little bit of a potential correction reminder of how many genocides have already happened and been ignored by the international community, that the international law that says that it's against this stuff has always failed to uphold its mandates in this regard. In mid-1968, images of malnourished and starving Biafran children saturated the mass media of Western countries because they seem to have wanted this separatist state to win. That's kind of the it's not just an educated guess here. This is what they do. It's their modus operandi, right? So the Western mass media, the starving children, the Western mass media shows, whatever, is kind of implies their involvement in creating the starving children so that they can put them on the mass media in the first place, right? The plight of the starving Biafrans became a cause célèbre in foreign countries, enabling a significant rise in the funding and prominence of international non-governmental organizations. So this is kind of maybe the conflict that set the the power of the NGO in motion, kind of thing. It was when they began with that method of operation, and we see it's been very successful, and they still apply it to this day. That's their regime change engine, right? So additionally, Biafra received international humanitarian aid from civilians during the Biafran airlift, an event which inspired the formation of Doctors Without Borders following the end of the war. The United Kingdom and the Soviet Union were the main supporters of the Nigerian government, while Israel supported Biafra. That's very interesting here, right? Where the UK and the Soviet Union were supporting the government against what Israel and US was supporting. So when we talk about the Monroe Doctrine and we see how sometimes Europe's interests align with like East Asia, then maybe Israel and the US, like there's things worth analyzing there. I'm just saying. The United States' official position was one of neutrality, considering Nigeria as a responsibility of Britain, but some interpret the refusal to recognize Biafra as favoring the Nigerian government. Yeah, I don't know if you want to keep reading there, or I just think it's some interesting history overlooked that maybe we need to go read more about. I would have done more research, but I haven't had the time. Today I was running around doing more court stuff. We had the phone call about the court stuff, then we had to do the stuff to act on the recommendations about that we talked about in the phone call. So
okay, so I have I found this to be really interesting, and I wanted to look up more about it. But there is a aspect of oil in this whole conflict in Nigeria as well. So
right,
that isn't really being discussed. It's not even part of the discussion when we talk about Nigeria and the bombing of Nigeria. It's more like framed as France and the United States trying to position themselves closer to the Sahel region because they are gaining so much traction.
Right.
But there's an oil aspect as well. I don't know if you want me to.
Well, yeah, we should definitely cover that aspect. That's where the oil aspect and the de-dollarization kind of shed some light there, and the cryptocurrency. That's the Nigeria's got a cryptocurrency angle to talk about. So, money laundering.
I'm gonna let you take that one. I don't. So Rondo, it actually depends on what country you're in. The natural A is like some say it's 440, some say it's 432, and I think it's one more. So it depends on where you are. Is where they decide what natural A is. I thought that was a pretty interesting. That's like random. I don't know what you guys are talking about in the chat. But I
was like, where is natural A coming up? But
I know this.
They're talking about hypnosis and TV, and then they're like, well, that would require a frequency such as. That is true, though. That's not just like a conspiracy theory. That when you watch TV, in order to actually be paying attention to it, there's a kind of state of hypnosis that we enter into in order to focus our attention onto what's happening on the screen and detach ourselves from anything that's not on that screen. So.
What is that? Oh shoot! My charger isn't hooked up. I don't want my laptop to die. It is this child's cartoon. I don't know why Lily Lemon is coming in my brain because that's like a outfit store or something. It's some kids cartoon where I think they're being sued because they were using these psychological tactics that they learn about colors and this and that to like put kids in almost like a trance. to watch their show.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, I never heard
If
that.
anybody's,
He
oh,
already
there it
does
is.
it, whatever. What do you?
Yeah, Sean
what do
knows
you-
what I'm talking about. Coco Lemon.
Oh, there's a show that the show like tries to like actively engage the kids in a more hypnotic engagement with itself or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucked. I didn't
So they'll
realize that's
watch
what
it
Coco Melon
for
was about. I thought it was another
hours at a
innocent little
time.
show for little kids. We got to cover more what's happening with like children's media and games and stuff, because we're a bit on that. There's a political aspect to that stuff that because people assume there's no politics there, but there's a lot of politics going on there.
Yeah, jury awards. Wait, what? Moonbug, 23.5 million in. Oh, that's a never mind. That's a loss. That's a copyright lawsuit. That's something different. I was trying to find it. Maybe I can look for it and we can come back to it if I remember.
Yeah.
So yeah. So this is in the old days. They used to flicker rate to hypnotize.
Yeah, with digital,
Yes,
they throw everything at you, like spinning circles, moving horizontal tickers on the bottom. Exactly, colors. Subliminals are easy on the digital. Yeah, that's. I would, I haven't looked into it, but I'd have to agree with you. Isn't that what Tucker was saying?
Yeah, that's what Tucker was saying. Let me find. Oh, I got a little hot spot too with Nick.
Oh, Black Life saying she's heard about teachers using sleep patches on kids to make them sleep, and that's pretty messed up. Okay, that's there's too much psychological engineering of our children to get them to be complacent in a school setting. It's kind of
what
harmful.
would make them sleep? Recess.
Yeah. A lot of kids these days in recess will sit there on their phone, I guess. I don't know. But the little kids, no, they still run and they play. They're not allowed to have the phones. So they break them if you let them have them anyway. So
No,
what
Jacqueline,
do we
it
got?
doesn't sound ethical at all. This is a hot spot with
Especially
Nico,
without parental
Nico.
consent. I find out you're putting a sleep patch on my kids without telling me. I'm going to be mad.
Exactly.
He's considering.
I'm pretty pissed. I don't know how to make this go away now. I put this up so I could read it, but now
Donald Trump is
go away. If I hit this, maybe.
I don't know. While you're working that out, Lance has an interesting comment. New word of the day. Thanks. I never heard of this. Check out the history of the tachistoscope, invented in 1859. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. We've always had subliminal messaging. That's scary that they've been doing things since 1859 like that. But I'll look into that. Thank you.
Sean said he's heard about that. He's heard about the patches for the kids.
You're cutting
So
in and
let's
out a
go
little bit.
ahead and
Yeah, go ahead and take a look at this.
see what he's talking about.
in Nigeria.
Here we go.
Donald Trump is considering putting boots on the ground in Nigeria. He's
Video's not working.
considering doing so allegedly because of this unique event of Christians being killed by Muslims, specifically the terrorist organization Boko Haram. Now we know that's some bullshit.
Oh, come on, video. You can do it. What's Nico got to say?
We already know.
We might want to refresh it or something. And see if it
However,
works.
there's also been a knee-jerk reaction from mankind. Period.
It's really bad. I can't make it out. It's too glitchy. Can we try and do a refresh on the web page or something?
ground in Nigeria. He's considering doing so allegedly because of this unique event of Christians being killed by Muslims, specifically the terrorist organization Boko Haram. Now we know that's some bullshit. We already know. However, there's also been a knee-jerk reaction from anti-imperialists that insists that this is strictly about gold and oil. And I'm here to tell you, complicated than that. First of all, let me be clear. This idea that Christians are being killed and therefore should be a valid excuse for us to invade Nigeria is bullshit. Because despite what people might believe, although Christians have been killed over the last several years, there have been more Muslims killed in Nigeria than Christians. And the Trump administration, nor any Western institution, has had anything to say about it. The fact of the matter is, Christians from the South and Muslims from the North have been beefing in Nigeria since at least the 90s, non-stop. In Boko Haram, the terrorist organization responsible for killing both Christians and Muslims in Nigeria, was funded and financed by the US. We already know. So now that we know that this really has nothing to do with Christianity or protecting Christians, we can go and address the other part. Is it must be about oil and gold. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2024, Nigeria sent out about $58 billion in oil exports, principally to the United States, France, and Italy. And the reason why the oil, the gold, and other natural resources are going to states that are basically trying to invade Nigeria right now, especially the United States, is because Nigeria already has a U.S. puppet government in place, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all don't know about Tinubu, Mr. Falsify my college degree with a fake ass name, drug lord from Chicago who somehow became the president of Nigeria? Yeah, do some research on that guy. He the eye. So now the question remains, why the hell would the United States want to overthrow their own puppet government? Well, the truth is, they don't want to overthrow the puppet government. They specifically need boots on the ground. They specifically need a base of operation. And it's not necessarily because of what's in Nigeria, but because of the countries surrounding Nigeria, namely Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, otherwise known as the AES. In case you haven't been paying attention over the last couple of years, the AES was successfully able to kick out France and NATO powers. And they've been able to successfully repel all of the terrorist threats that basically NATO funded to overthrow the governments that took back their governments from the Western NATO powers. They've been able to do so by creating a union amongst the three: political, economic, and military union. A union that has, by the way, resulted in France crumbling to such a degree that they've had 525,600 prime ministers in the last 5 years because of the economic failures brought about by the fact they can no longer rob the AES states of their resources. These AES states, these Sahel states, have begun to diversify their economy, strengthen their military, and even partner with countries like Russia and China to take back control. And although Nigeria is firmly in the control of the United States currently, we don't know how long that will last, because I'm sure Nigerians are looking over across the border like, man, it's looking kind of cool over there, man. You telling me the people are actually in control of their economy? The government is actually working on behalf of the people, and the resources of their nations are actually being used to better the livelihood of the people who live there? And I'm sure they're giving Tinubu and that puppet government the side eye right about now. And since the United States can no longer set up shop in the Sahel states, and there is no legitimate reason to overthrow the Nigerian government because that's already a U.S. puppet government, well, we got to say Christians are dying all of a sudden because we don't really have any other excuse. We really just need to take back control of these countries, or at the bare minimum, make sure that we don't lose Nigeria as well, because we saw what's happening to France, we see what's happening to Western Europe in general, and we see that other African nations are starting to follow by example. Yeah, that's why Trump wants boots on the ground in Nigeria. Yeah, gold, yeah, oil, but it's mostly because of the fear of the Sahel states, or specifically the AES, and the fear that Nigeria might just follow suit if the United States doesn't get control right now.
I mean, they're all valid reasons, right?
Yeah.
They're all valid reasons. Gold, oil, and France is shaking in their boots.
It's where it's
France
a good
doesn't
idea.
know what to do.
It's a good idea to find the primary contradiction. I think that's kind of what he's doing there, even though Nico's openly not a communist, which is a little bit disappointing to me, but he seems to be like a fellow traveler, kind of communist sympathizer, maybe you could call him, but maybe he wouldn't even say that that's what he is. But he certainly works in leftist circles. But not to get too hung up on him or whatever. It's interesting what he was saying. What I wanted to say about there's no legitimate reason to overthrow the puppet government they already have in place. The one possible reason why they might still do that, or see a reason why they want to do that, is if their puppet government is losing popularity, losing credibility and grip on power, and they see the people are getting ready to overthrow it, they want to get ahead of that and pretend with like these Gen Z protests that they are representative of the new what the people really want, and they're just going to reinstall a new puppet regime because the old Tinubu has failed to carry out all the objectives that the U.S. ordered him to do, likely. Because there is this thing about the Nigeria pivoting to the BRICS in some sense. So that kind of is a wrinkle in the narrative about it being firmly in the Western camp as a puppet. Because Tinubu's in power while they're making these decisions to pivot to BRICS. But so we have this problem about kind of thinking that the leader of a country, which was probably, even if they are a U.S. puppet or whatever, they don't have complete control of, like, they're not the only ones with power in these countries, especially if they are nominally democratic. Then the democratic apparatus in these countries, all the people vying for power to be the next president and whatnot, the opposition, they do have the ability to kind of to force the government, in the incumbent government in power, to make some decisions in the best interest of its people, while trying to because they have to maintain a balance between the imperialist American interests and like not neglecting their people so badly that they get kicked out of power with a revolution. So they do have to kind of try and placate their people, but they always want to have to trick them and give them false placation.
So I'd like to tell you where I am in a little bit of disagreement with Nico House on this one, because I think it does have a lot to do with oil too, and he's thinking it's like mostly about. I think it's all three. It's obviously all three, but there is the richest man in Africa is in Nigeria. He had sugar refineries, but now he also has oil refinery. So you know me, I like to find videos to say what I want to say, but I can pull up an article as well. But let me share this because I thought she did a good job in kind of breaking it down.
Sorry.
And then I'll catch you on the other side.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
I was just what you're saying led me to remember I do have a video I can share, but it's a long one. We'll just have to look at a little bit of it. But I want to maybe get to some of my other sources, and we can say that later. So
okay.
Go ahead.
I did. So I did a little digging. You want to know what's really going on in Nigeria? I did. So I did a little digging, and turns out Africa's richest man is a Nigerian businessman. His last name's Dangote. I don't remember his first name. Aliko?
That
maybe?
is his first
Anyway, he just built the world's largest single train oil refinery, 650,000 barrels a day refining capacity.
When I researched it, it says 680,000, so she's close, or somewhere in between 650 to close to 700.
It's around there.
He actually just said it's about to go up to 700, and they announced construction on an additional single train, which is going to take that to 1.4 million barrels. That's about how much crude oil Nigeria is currently producing. Well, the NNPC and the Dangote refinery, they came to an agreement. They would sell 20% of the stake in the Dangote refinery for access to domestic oil that the NNPC controls. Only the NNPC wasn't able to fulfill their obligations under that agreement. Dangote was supposed to receive about 300,000 barrels. Didn't happen. The NNPC tried to say that it was because...
I'll explain what the NNPC is.
It's a little hard to follow when it glitches so much. Yeah, and I'm not understanding what the acronyms are. I like it when people explain that, in like this woman maybe neglected to tell us what the acronym was while she's using it, as if we all know. Like we were
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the NNPC stands for the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. That's the name of.
Go ahead.
It's a state-owned oil and gas company.
Right.
And it's responsible for managing the nation's petroleum resources.
Okay. So
that makes more sense now, right? Because I was like, oh wait, who? I looked it up, but she should have said something. Okay,
this video, it's making me wonder if Nigeria is also a member of OPEC. So if you want to look that up.
That is a good question. Yeah.
That might give us another angle that's being missed a bit.
So while I play it, I'll look that up.
Sure.
Okay, so I backed it up a little bit.
Refinery for access to domestic oil that the NNPC controls. Only the NNPC wasn't able to fulfill their obligations under that agreement. Dangote was supposed to receive about 300,000 barrels.
Apparently the glitch is baked in.
Didn't happen. The NNPC tried to say that it was because one of their existing state-run oil refineries came back online. But then it shut down right after. And it's been shut down since May. Guess where Dangote was having to purchase the crude oil for its refinery? From America. Yeah, this summer, the U.S. became a net exporter of crude oil because of its sales to Nigeria. So Dangote, he's raising a fuss about this, right? He's like, why aren't you prioritizing domestic refineries like you're supposed to? That happened in the middle of December. Within 2 weeks, the heads of the Upstream Commission and the Midstream Commission, these are the regulatory bodies for the oil and gas industry in Nigeria, they were replaced.
So upstream, so like midstream, I think is like the marketing side of it, and upstream is I forgot. I had looked it up.
She's saying that the heads of those people were replaced, and this all happened in December. This is actually a very, very good scoop there you got.
I know. So I did look it up, and this is very confusing. No, the NNPC is not part of OPEC, but Nigeria joined OPEC in 1971. So if the NNPC is a state-owned natural oil company of Nigeria, if Nigeria is a member of OPEC, then that means the NNPC by proxy is a member, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so what year did you say it joined OPEC?
1971.
So now, what year was the NPCC created? What year did they nationalize their oil company? Because this is what I'm saying. Soviet Union backed the government of Nigeria, and so did the Great Britain against Israel and the U.S. supporting separatist state. So that backing of the Nigerian government, there's likely some ideological, some Marxist influence on the Nigerians at the time, and that likely led to them nationalizing their oil company. But OPEC, I forget when OPEC was created, but all these questions are kind of relevant right now. We should have maybe.
It's saying that
had them
so. I mean, I have some articles about so NMPC and OPEC pledged to collaborate with each other to attract investors. And then an article that just came out just 10 hours ago, when I found this, was confirming that Nigeria is missing its OPEC plus oil quotas. They've been missing it for 5 straight months. So this is kind of like elaborating what she's saying.
Right. So they're not playing ball with OPEC. And I'm saying with what happened with Venezuela, it seems like OPEC, while it's original, I think in the 1960s was kind of, there was some either a narrative or some hope that it would be a kind of like an anti-colonial sort of organization, maybe capitalist through and through, but at least anti-imperial, like not playing ball with the West. Now it seems like OPEC is helping the United States sort of keep the petrodollar going, right? So that's the whole thing with the Saudis agreement. So Saudis betrayed OPEC without leaving it, and then the rest made OPEC kind of redundant, but not really, because it had all this power.
Right? Like this,
but its original purpose was made redundant.
Yeah, it's only like a minute left, but she breaks it down real nice.
It says OPEC was founded in 1960, and so OPEC was founded in 1960, and then you said they joined Nigeria joined OPEC in
1971.
Right. Mm-hmm. So now I want to see, when did Nigeria nationalize their oil industry?
Okay, I pulled it back a little bit, and it's only like a minute left. So
1956.
Within 2 weeks.
So they nationalized in 1956?
Yep, before OPEC. So the MPCC, whatever it was, maybe I don't know if the company itself was formed back then, whatever, but it's obviously the predecessor, the successor of whatever, if not the original company. So that's all interesting, just to have those facts. So go ahead if you want to play the video.
Sure.
Weeks, the heads of the Upstream Commission and the Midstream Commission.
Oh, I was supposed to explain what that meant, wasn't I? I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yeah. It's all good.
Go back. So exploration is the Upstream Commission. She said midstream, but I found downstream, which is refining and marketing is the downstream commission. I didn't find a middle stream commission, so maybe she misspoke, or maybe I just didn't find it. I don't know.
Sometimes I feel like when the search engine's trying to avoid giving you what you're looking for, especially like if you're doing it live or something. So I don't know, but let's not get too paranoid, I guess.
But basically, this is just the different organizations within the NMPC, what they're responsible for. That's basically all it means.
Yeah.
It's still the NMPC. But anyway, okay.
Gas industry in Nigeria. They were replaced. Now Nigeria is saying they're thinking about amending their Petroleum Industry Act. That was the act that separated management and ownership functions so that the NNPC could operate like a private company. They're just gonna consolidate power, open themselves up to additional political influence. Yeah. Turns out they're also planning on selling stake in some of their oil fields. They just announced that. 2 days ago. Yeah. It's like it's the same old play every time. You know what game you should play? Catan. It'll really rewire your brain. Because you're rolling, you're collecting resources from your tile.
Sounds like Monopoly.
And then the 7 rolls. And the robber pops up on your hexagon. And you're like, what's the robber doing on my hexagon? And then you look down. And you see the resources sitting on your hexagon. You want to know what's really going on in Nigeria?
Okay, so anyway, I thought that was funny, Rondo, because I wanted to say something about like the way she was talking to her facial expressions were cracking me up, right? Like Rondo says, "Why is she whispering?"
Some ASMR trick you probably told. It probably gets her extra view.
Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, so that's that, and I hope you guys got something out of that, because yeah, that is very telling. Yeah. And that's why I don't completely agree with Nico. I think it's like, let's kill a couple of birds with one stone. We need to be close to the Sahara region, the ASE anyway. And speaking of that, we had a new commenter, NPMest96. Hello.
Yes. Hello, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe.
Although some of them might have been older people, because this everyone's name has changed with whatever YouTube's up to.
That's true. So we might know this person.
But even if you're, almost hope you're a new person, because we love our regulars, but we need new voices and opinions and viewers. Like, share, subscribe, please.
Fiddlefoot's here. Hi, Fiddleford.
How's it going? Thanks for dropping in. Good talk. Good. Thanks for hanging out with us last night, or the night before.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
You got to meet drunk Abby Doo.
That was cool.
Okay. So now it's your turn.
Yeah. So let me see where I should go from there. What was the guy? She was talking about the oil industry. So I should maybe look for the stuff about diversification.
While you're looking for that,
oil payments. There it is.
Okay. So. Okay. Enjoy yourself. That's interesting that you just said that, because there is this black guy in Virginia. I can't remember what state he's in. He figured out how to turn plastics into fuel, and it actually seems to be working. I have to remove mine. Put yours up. You can put yours up now.
Right.
And we have to protect this brother at all costs, because they don't want that to happen.
Well, whatever he may have accomplished so far, now he has to do the work of making it like more cost effective, like refine the method. I heard about that a little bit too, but to make it like for mass producible, it has to accomplish certain economic kind of goals, or check certain economic boxes. So we should look into that a bit more. I also heard about a story about someone in Africa had found a new way to make whatever, like electric batteries or something that last way better. But that, like, out of Zimbabwe, but that one sounded more like a hoax. It ended up not being true from what I could tell.
Looks like Sean and Rondo have heard of him. Yeah. So, okay, you go ahead and...
Oh, here, wait, there's also another new viewer there. That is my Uncle Steve. Good to see you.
Hey, Unc.
Thanks for all the great information. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for listening.
Did you know we were We just got married today. We're podcast husband and wife now. It's official.
Time for honeymoon.
Time for the honeymoon. Brown chicken bronco.
All right, let me find my article here, wherever it is. The tabs are always covered by the...
It says Nigeria's move to diversify oil trade payments.
Yeah, but now I need to find it. It's hiding underneath my camera, so it's hard to find. Yeah. This is from the 30th of December. Sorry, what was that?
I'm sorry, Sean. Thank you. He's congratulating us on our newfound love.
Thank you. Check. So Nigeria's move to diversify oil trade payments. President Bola Tinubu's recent announcement to diversify oil trade payments to include local currencies marks a significant milestone in Nigeria's economic strategy. This bold move echoes the structural realignment made by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who shifted Nigeria's foreign reserve currency from the sterling pound to the US dollar. These decisions demonstrate a keen understanding of global economic trends and a willingness to adapt to changing capital flows. So it's an interesting comparison that he makes there. Just kind of like a little bit of food for thought, historical materialism, I guess. A tectonic shift in global economy architecture. Diversifying oil trade payments is more than just a policy change. It's a strategic move to position Nigeria at the forefront of the evolving global economy, at the emerging Chinese-led economy. So by including local currencies, Nigeria aims to reduce its dependence on the US dollar, mitigate exchange rate risks, and increase trade efficiency. This shift is particularly significant as it reflects a broader trend of countries seeking to reduce their reliance on traditional reserve currencies.
Can you pause for a second?
Yep.
Go back to that paragraph. Because I just find it interesting that it's saying that Nigeria aims to reduce its dependence on the US dollar, and Nigeria is clearly being like NATO has a foothold in Nigeria. So I find that confusing. It would be believable if it came from, the ASE or something like that, but this doesn't sound that believable to me.
There's some cognitive dissonance with going on with this stuff, right? Because they're speaking out of both sides of their mouth, from what I can tell. It's weird to me, suspicious that this that Tinubu president guy that Nico House is telling us, look into that guy because he is us, right? I've looked into him a little bit. I agree wholeheartedly. I need to look into him some more.
It's always in the eyes.
By the way, talking about his eyes, just because you remind me of his face, bro. You know that meme with the frog, the Pepe frog that's everywhere? That guy's like the living
So
meme.
he's a groper?
He is the groper. It's funny. Sorry. But it doesn't make sense that this Tinubu guy is willing to diversify trade in local currencies. It's almost like he's doing it like a bait and switch. Like he wants to make China think he's going to do it, but then he's letting America bomb his country. And from what I could tell, no terrorist died in that event. He like bombed a farmland, just like a field.
Good point.
So
right.
What's going on here?
So then that makes me want to look at the sun, like the background of the sun a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. How's it going, Golden Monarch?
Is the Sun a British tabloid newspaper? The Sun is a British tabloid newspaper published by.
Yeah, always look at where are the sons of these presidents, right? Is that who you're talking about?
It's okay. Itself a wholly owned subsidiary of Lachlan Murdoch's News Corp. So now it makes sense. I mean, it makes a little more sense to me, considering the source.
Yeah.
Did you say who's here? Old Man Parker?
Golden Monarch, yeah. He was saying we're
talking
talking
about
Monarch in Nigeria again. We're going to get there, hopefully. All in good time. Wasn't trying to go too late tonight. I didn't get to eat something before we started, so I'll start to get hungry if we go too late tonight. Let me get back to reading.
And then he'll get cranky.
Yeah, I'll get hangry.
Give this man a Snickers.
Yeah. Mastery of historic cycle of finance. This is a bit of a ass-rimming article. So Tinubu's administration is demonstrating a depth of mastery over the historic cycle of finance by repositioning Nigeria early in response to emerging trends. This move is expected to have far-reaching implications for Nigeria's economy, including for increased trade efficiency. Using local currencies can simplify trade transactions and reduce costs. Reduce dependence on U.S. dollar. Diversification can mitigate risks associated with exchange rate fluctuations. Enhanced economic sovereignty. Nigeria gains more control over its economic destiny. If only those things were about to happen. The implications of So the implications of diversifying oil trade payments. Nigeria's decision. I really love how they make you repeat these words when you read it all. I should just stop reading the headline. Their decision to diversify the payments to include local currencies is a strategic move that could have far-reaching implications for the country's economy by reducing its dependence. Now it's just repeating what it said in the talking points. And reduce vulnerability to oil price shocks would be a benefit for de-dollarization. Increased trade efficiency, enhanced economic sovereignty, repeating itself. I think we're done with this article. Another thing worth mentioning, maybe I'll just share this tab here. Nigeria's trade with Africa grows 14% on improved regional ties. So as far as trading in local currencies instead of the US dollar, holding up the petrodollar, it would make you, like, Nigeria is already an economic powerhouse in Africa. So it is kind of a threat to America if Nigeria becomes powerful enough to sort of help Africa break free. So this was from November 17, 2025. I don't know if I want to get right into that before we
I also think it's important to mention that there was a recent coup attempt on Traoré in Burkina Faso that failed. So I think that's an important piece of this puzzle that we shouldn't leave out when we're talking about Nigeria and this invasion into Nigeria and possible U.S. boots on the ground. So,
right. So, what do we got? The comments from the chat here. Sorry, a little bit.
Now I can't get that beat out of my head. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, we're all from Ontario, actually, interestingly enough, just to answer Jacqueline's question. So, not sure if I should read this article here that I archived. It's just kind of, I don't know if we need to read the whole thing. It's more just it's more important to just kind of get the headline about, hey, look, Nigeria's economy was booming, right? So I was asked myself the question, is Nigeria's economy in a bubble? Because that would be something worth knowing if you're trying to understand what's happening. And then I found this article that I can't actually read, so I'll just share the headline. And why can't I read it? Because it's fucking paywalled. So fuck off, paywallers. You guys are making it that only the rich can know what's going on. Not very cool of you. So the Dedi December bubble, how Nigeria is pricing itself out of $1 billion cultural economy. January 1st, 2026. I'll read this little bit in gray because that's all I get. A cultural accident that became an economic asset, Dedi December was never a government blueprint or a carefully sequenced tourism policy. It was a market accident. An explosion of Nigerian soft power driven by Afrobeats dominance, diaspora homecomings, nightlife innovation, and Lagos' raw something economic terms. It was a positive externality Nigeria did not plan for but benefited from immensely. Airline load factors peaked. Hotels recorded near full occupancy. Informal employment surged. And that's all we get. But basically, Nigeria's economy's been running a little, like their tourism economy has been running kind of hot. And it's maybe I did look into it a little bit. It's gonna be kind of bursting a bit because they're overcharging the tourists to come stay in like shitty accommodations in a dangerous, like in a country with some terrorism kind of like the terrorism threats and stuff. Like eventually the tourists are going to learn that it's not actually really worth like the budget prices are kind of too good to be true. And so, but for now, and all this stuff with cryptocurrency and whatnot, there are like non-American capitalists that are fully in with all this like capitalist innovation that's all about hollowing out your own country and stuff. So let's see, where should we go?
Yeah. A lot of people, I'm just looking at some of the stuff that I saved. I didn't really have time to go through them, so I'm just trying to look at them now. And a lot of people feel like it's mainly about being in close proximity to the ASE.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting like over and over and over again.
The AES would have a massive
ASC,
jump.
Right?
AES, yeah, it's a hell alliance. They would be much more stronger if Nigeria joined them. They would get like access to the coast and like the biggest economy in Africa. I feel like that alone would be enough to kind of put the final nail in the coffin of ECOWAS. So maybe some of that's what's happening there. Because the other smaller African nations, all their economies combined aren't as significant as Nigeria's, like the Ivory Coast and Togo and Guinea-Bissau, those little ones. I feel like all those little countries sort of need to have some unification, some like those. The tinier your country is in Africa, the less say you get, just like any other country. When your country's so small, you kind of need to be thinking more than nationalistic. You need to sort of want to create a new political union with your neighbors, like the AES has done. They were alone, they were too small to be effective. Together, when they're not being overly, like they're being nationalistic, but also they're being super nationalistic. So maybe nationalism can be something that limits our ability to understand what would benefit us the most. But so this is the dark arts of crypto laundering and the Nigerian.
Can I ask you something real quick? Jacqueline is asking a question. So she says, "Why is gold still so precious? I mean, it's no longer used as a currency." It in some places it is. So this is another. I'm glad she mentioned that because
me too.
Because another issue is these countries that they are destabilizing aren't under the auspice of the Rothschilds banking system. And that pisses them the fuck off. You know what I mean? Like Libya was going to have its own currency backed by gold and was trying to get all of Africa to unite under one African currency backed by actual gold. Right? Because the fiat is just backed by the idea that you're important.
Yeah. And it is still rare, even though there's more gold now out there than ever. There's still a lot of it still in the ground, and it will always be rare based on by comparing its abundance with other metals. And as far as you talking about that it is still used as currency in other countries, that's one of the things about Iran that I was reading about. With their currencies collapsed. It's like 1.4 million Iranian, whatever it's called, for $1. So they are using gold coins instead of their local currency that's been destroyed.
But I kind of wonder, like, as we evolve globally, will it always be gold, or as we evolve globally and need different minerals, like maybe one day uranium will be like it's backed by uranium, like backed by lithium.
Well, this is where gold has taken a special place in the human heart for like since a very long time ago in history. Before like any other currency, like I guess the first currency was like shells that they used, found from the sea. But then when they really started to find gold and whatnot and silver, we became obsessed with gold from back then to this day. So I think one day we will. It's like an addiction. It is definitely a weird. It's a collective, like a mass psychosis problem. I think if we ever actually achieve a communist society, our obsession with gold will probably would evaporate along with this bullshit that we have, this culture that we have today. But gold will always be kind of valued for it's such a pretty color and its use in art, and it has a valuable use in technology. But if we become more pragmatic as a society, we will start to use it more for its practical purpose than more for whatever financial speculation. If we ever become a Star Trek society, we're not going to need money, right? So it's like the purpose of gold is a refuge in times of crisis, a store of value. That will no longer be its purpose, but gold will always be around, right?
So Fiddleford is talking about, I think he's saying platinum, because they were saying platinum is more valuable, but Fiddleford is saying it erodes, copper and silver. Gold corrodes much, much slower than all the other.
That is historically
what
made us love it so much is that it was the one thing that never rusted or whatever, right?
Yeah, and I'm just making a joke, but like maybe with all these AI data centers popping up, maybe our money's going to start getting backed by water. Like,
yeah,
that is sad. That is.
Well, yeah, water would be. You could use water as a currency or whatever. You just trade it like ice. You could literally trade it by the pound or whatever. The British pound will become the water pound. So
now that's late stage capitalism.
Yeah. Gold Monarch says, unfortunately, AI data centers aren't a very pragmatic industry. Yeah, exactly. But I guess its use in technology is a little bit beyond like data centers and AI. It is like important for stuff like building spaceships and like communications technology.
Maybe they'll put them. Maybe they'll put them in Greenland and they could melt the snow and use that as fuel for
One
the
thing
data centers.
About the Greenland conversation that seems everyone's talking about. It's like what we're going to end up doing inadvertently is reinforcing that Denmark's claim to Greenland is legitimate, right? The colonizers who already own it deserve to maintain their ownership, and that's maybe what they're thinking. The U.S. administration is like looking for a catch-22. If we condemn America's efforts to claim it by force, then we reinforce colonial thinking or legal structure, more importantly. But if we we still have to push back against the U.S. If we try and say like Denmark doesn't have a claim to it, then we're almost like admitting that the U.S. is right, that Denmark doesn't have a right to own Greenland. But what's going unsaid is that it's the indigenous who have the right to the land. But public opinion is not anywhere near where it needs to be to actually say that.
So Jacqueline, we covered this as well, but it wasn't under the umbrella of UAE. It was more speaking about Sudan, and the genocide in Sudan was actually being fueled by the UAE so they can rob them of their gold.
This is why I got to do a research project about the UAE and Saudi Arabia. That is probably what I'm going to talk about next week.
They just sit on a bunch of sand. Like there's no resources in the UAE to be so why are they so rich with Lamborghinis and gold everywhere? It is because they are robbing the Sudanese people.
Yeah, well, I
Of
also
their
think
resources.
it must have something to do with these royal bloodlines, because it is these Gulf monarchies that, if we go digging in hard enough, I think we'll find are actually blood related to the European monarchies, and they're probably like the linchpin, the connection between Eastern royal dynasties, even in like China and other South Asian countries that are no longer in power. The only monarchy that I remember in power in Asia is a fucking Thai monarchy. But way beside the point, getting off the topic. My point is that these monarchs with their blood, the only reason why they have power, because they got nothing but sand and oil over there, is because their family name is carrying them to this day, acting like their special magic blood is so much different than ours. This is why you have a mental delusion if you think you're a royal person. There is no difference between you and the rest of us, except for you have a delusion and we do not.
Yeah, don't you got to go take a shit just like me.
Yeah. One of these days,
and your shit probably stinks more than mine.
These royals, grandkids, whatever, generations from now, will just be like fucking janitors and miners and whatever, right? Bus drivers. One day. Anyway.
My shit smells like flowers, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Just so you know.
So we'll get 1 hour 40 in. Since I got this article called up, I wanted to touch on the crypto aspect of things, because we do kick that can down the road a lot, and it's a little silly of us, maybe just because we're older. Well, I'm not even that old. I'm just kind of not that big into tech. So, but it is like the big changes that are going to be of lasting change for generations to come. So maybe we should be covering what's happening with crypto more often.
Okay.
I just don't understand it. So.
Me either. That's why I was like, okay, here we go. Like, I dread when we have to talk about crypto. I'm like, where is Golden Monarch?
It's not that hard, I guess. I mean, I just don't understand the technical, like how the technology actually works. But like from an economic standpoint, it really just functions like fiat currency on steroids. So,
it's devolving into a money laundering scheme. It seems.
It's like the money laundering schemes need to evolve into a new type of scheme in order to carry on the stolen wealth, So let me get back to this.
Oh, that's so interesting. Y'all didn't know the Statue of Liberty was a Black woman? Interesting.
Oh, it's supposed to be? I didn't know that. Cool.
Huh.
But so the French decided, for whatever reason, to give a statue of a Black woman to the white supremacist Americans.
It was supposed to represent the struggle of freedom.
Oh, the emancipation of slavery, whatever. Yeah, that's interesting. Cool.
But the original one, I think there's an original one that's in it's somewhere in Africa. I can't remember where. You could Google it. Hi, Jigsaw.
Creepy. Is
Right.
that you?
Yes, cowboy.
No, I don't want to play a game. Get away from it.
No, yeah, I know. No, I do not. I do not want the balloon. Okay.
So this is from the Journal of Economic Criminology, I guess. March 2025. The dark arts of crypto laundering in the Nigerian financial ecosystem, examining regulatory perspectives of virtual assets and virtual asset providers and mitigating money laundering risk in Nigeria. The last 5 years have seen immense growth in the Nigerian financial services sphere, particularly with the introduction of innovative ways to make, trade, and exchange money in a largely unregulated sphere. One of such developments is virtual assets, which has opened up a lot of doors in the world of fintech and attracted the attention of financial industry regulators. The Central Bank of Nigeria and other financial regulatory agencies seem to, however, waver in their governance systems of virtual assets, oscillating between an implied soft ban through various circulars in 2021 on one hand, and a desire to critically understand the operations of virtual assets within the ambit of the Securities and Exchange Commission rules in 2022. However, within this time frame, various cryptocurrency trading platforms quickly found ways to illegally circumvent and allow users to continue trading, regardless of the implied ban, taking advantage of financial agencies' lackadaisical approach to regulating their activities. Current research therefore suggests that there is a continued operation of such exchange platforms outside regulatory boundaries, where in May 2023, Patricia, a popular Nigerian cryptocurrency exchange platform, launched its own digital tokens. In response, the CBN released a guideline in December 2023 on the operations of bank accounts for virtual assets and virtual asset service providers, a first step toward regulating virtual assets in Nigeria. This paper therefore aims to critically assess the anatomy and footprint of crypto laundering, particularly in Nigeria's banking and finance sector, as well as current and future attempts at regulating the potential money laundering risks of virtual assets. Particularly, this paper aims to examine the potency of current regulatory perspectives, Nigeria's emerging governance system for virtual assets, and VASPs side by side with its current economic and social realities and the overall regulatory nature of Nigeria's financial ecosystem.
Why is the hearing the word crypto it's becoming more and more synonymous to money laundering?
That's all I ever think of when I hear it. Yeah, it's
just what started out as something that was supposed to be like, how the fuck do they taint everything? Jeez, can we catch a break?
It is a way that they can like make the corruption so widespread that those of us who want to finally like address corruption at the root, we're not really going to be able to do that. So this is why we kind of need control over. We need some people in power somewhere, because we're really getting screwed without any ability to push back on any of this.
Golden Monarch is saying it's probably it might be some sort of loophole in Nigerian law or what have you. Because just like AI, like crypto, the concept and the technology came before the laws, right? So even AI, we don't really have many laws surrounding AI yet, and it's just running amok.
Yeah, that's where the neoliberalism is alive and well in the cryptocurrency industry, to put it that way. So yeah, as far as there must be some kind of law, Nigerian law, that they don't know how to address or respond to crypto scams. That's exactly what I think this article is suggesting. And I feel like it's also, they don't have a strong enough regulator that is like able to not be corrupted by the launderers. So it seems like one of the things that we all have this, it's like a global problem that we've got an unregulated industry. And it seems like governments and regulators are being paid to be slow moving at coming up with actual bans that are effective. So the amount of money that can be made from an unregulated industry happens to also be a huge way of funding the bribes needed to make that industry stay unregulated. Go figure. So I saw, this is a little funny. A random item will gain sentence in Michael's room. Uh-oh.
look at my crazy ass. I'm like, the lamp.
It's a little too dark in here. I better go turn some lights on.
No. The darkness makes it even creepier.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's too big. I was thinking that was a little too small.
You know, Fiddleford, I actually have never took the time to look up the etymology of the term crypto. So that's very interesting.
Yeah. So
they're saying it's the word denoting a hidden thing: cryptocurrency, crypto-fascism, crypto, etc.
That's a good point. It's actually something that everyone has. That's like how meanings of words change over time. People are almost forgetting that crypto means cryptic, means hidden, whatever, right? And so it's turning into, it means digital currency, but that's not really, if it's not what it was supposed to mean, it would just be called like digicurrency or whatever, right? But I guess that sounds too weird or something. So crypto sounds cool, right? But what is the problem with crypto? The very fact that it is hidden or whatever. You can't have a currency. Currency is a public thing. Okay, how does it work as a private, whatever, hidden sort of? It doesn't, It needs to be universal. It needs to have like regulated standards for it to function as a currency. But whatever. Let me get back to this.
I'm gonna put that in the chat. By the way, it's a Greek word.
Mm-hmm. Meaning secret.
Did I put it in the chat?
Yeah, it's there.
Oh, it's there? Okay.
Yeah, here, put it up on screen for a minute.
Thank you for that, Clifford.
Yep, appreciate you. Let me get back to this, and then I can move on. I don't know how much to read. I always tend to just read until we get bored and then move on. So if that's what people want to do, sounds good. If you want me to keep going, let me know. Rahija et al. Explained that while the global financial system has experienced an exponential boom and growth of new technological innovations, specifically virtual assets, the concept as a whole, its inner workings and relevance to the banking and finance sector is still widely misunderstood by consumers, investors, and even regulators. While some assert that virtual assets seem, so this, by the way, we feel bad because we don't understand crypto, so that's why we don't want to talk about it. Well, guess what? The people consuming, investing, and regulating crypto don't fucking understand it either. Isn't that a great idea? While some assert that virtual assets seem to fulfill only one of the functions of money, that's what I was just saying, right? It doesn't work as crypto because it doesn't work as currency, right? It needs to fulfill all the other functions as well, not just be something that you can trade. So others seem to conclude that virtual assets are divergent and can operate in any function that their users require. Ultimately, virtual assets appear to be consistent with any method of value transfer, and so have the potential to be used as part of everyday activities, from payment methods, investments, and property purchases, real or personal. Due to the global popularity of these new financial instruments, cryptocurrencies have become a threat to market stability and the financial infrastructure in Africa, particularly in Nigeria. Sub-Saharan Africa and a greater portion of other developing countries within the African region appear to be at the forefront of crypto usage and volumes, with Nigeria ranking in the top 3 global users, because crypto is a very effective means of remittances, but it's also important for countries that don't really have a stable local currency, that don't want to use the US dollar. They can use crypto, but they're not realizing they're still supporting the US dollar by using crypto, most likely because of the fact that crypto's a very Zionist thing for the most part.
I guess they probably feel like at least we aren't on the at least we aren't under Rothschild's bank. So
exactly, that's the main thing,
it's
right?
like the lesser of the two evils, I guess.
Exactly. Those banks, fuck the banks, okay? You guys have just created the worst kind of conditions for all of us because you couldn't actually let people have power, right? You had to concentrate all the power in like currency that's worthless now. So anyway, let me get back here.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that clip. It's like 30 minutes, so we're not gonna be able to play it, but I'm gonna watch it.
Okay.
Go to Mono.
Well, thank you. So African regions appear to be at the forefront of crypto usage and volumes, which is ironically juxtaposed with weaker regulatory regimes and frameworks in these jurisdictions. As of 2024, Nigeria is reported to have received approximately $59 billion in cryptocurrency value, with further reports of growing stablecoins and decentralized finance. Oh, so I wonder, they're talking about that Deddy bubble, how Nigeria priced itself out of $1 billion cultural economy. Pretty sure the bubble is the fucking cryptocurrency bubble, right? The AI bubble. With further reports of growing stablecoins and decentralized finance adoption across the country side by side with continued cryptocurrency activities, it is important to consider regulatory strategies and frameworks in response to developing cryptocurrency activities in Nigeria, especially with developments in the Financial Action Task Force's recommendations for new technologies and innovation and the Central Bank of Nigeria's recent guidelines for virtual assets. It is therefore important to assess Nigeria's regulatory landscape for cryptocurrencies and similar technologies. This paper is therefore aimed at providing an in-depth understanding on how criminals may carry out laundering activities through the use of cryptocurrencies and evaluate the role of cryptocurrency in Nigeria's financial ecosystem by assessing various theoretical frameworks on regulation and the need to regulate crypto activities in Nigeria. More specifically,
look, I wonder. Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I wonder how much of the what is it? The WLFO? What's the Trump coin? I wonder how much of that is passing through Nigeria right now.
Good question.
I forget. I probably got the acronym wrong, so forgive me. But
I don't even know what it is.
You know what it is. We've talked about it before.
I know. But like I don't follow what the I don't look into what the currencies, all these different cryptocurrencies are called, because I'm not looking in any way to be involved with it. So it's not information.
We talked about it when we were talking about Binance and how he pardoned that dude, and
it was like one in one ear out the other for me. Whatever it was actually called.
But I'm sure most of you guys remember what I'm talking about, just like you, Michael, even if we don't know the acronym.
Trump's cryptocurrency that he, as the president, should have never been allowed to make anything like that. Exactly. That's ridiculous. Sign of the times. So this article is like getting really dense and stuff. So I'm gonna try and read to a point where we can stop, because otherwise we're gonna read like a whole freaking science article thing, which might get a little dry. So unless anybody wants you to read all of this.
Not all of it. Not all of it.
Exactly. I wanted to make the point. But beyond just doing the thing we're not supposed to do, which is just read the headline and then move on. So, but I'm going to miss a chance to talk about some other things. So, because
maybe you could put it in the chat for people who want to go a little further.
Yeah. I should have started with the article, Why Bomb Sokoto, Trump's Strike Baffle Nigerians, because that is the impetus for why we're talking about this. But anyway, I digress. So let me see. More specifically, it investigates the global nature of crypto laundering, this article, and the cryptocurrency ecosystem, and assesses the need for a shift in regulatory perspectives for effective regulation of cryptocurrencies in Nigeria by considering various regulatory theories and frameworks. We have a problem here with like the prohibition problem, like with alcohol, with cryptocurrencies, where instead of enforcing an effective ban, we are talking about effective regulations, because it's likely that any ban we want to put in place is not going to be effective because people want the cryptocurrency. So we may have to deal with a necessary evil thing. That's a conversation we need to have. Maybe we'll do a show on it. Like, do we need to have a ban or a regulation of cryptocurrencies? Because I think Gold Monarch and I are in favor of a ban, but are we realistic in the chances of that working? Maybe you could let me know what he thinks. This paper thus provides significant contributions to an under-researched area of cryptocurrency research.
Bad Cookies is here.
Oh,
I think Bad Cookies is.
You're cutting in and out a bit.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying Bad Cookies is here. Hi, Bad Cookies. And it looks like.
God damn, you're cutting out again.
Bad Cookies is probably in favor of a ban. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Oh, I said.
I don't know what you said. I said, and now you're just silent. So I don't know if you're trying to talk, or if you're not talking.
Here, hello, Bad Cookies, and I don't.
Every time you try to tell me what you said, it cuts out again. Yeah, it's okay.
But you could confirm or deny. Am I okay?
Yeah, sorry. It's just really hard. Every time you try and correct, you fill me in, the fucking stupid thing cuts out.
I said.
I heard you now. I don't want to go through it again, but we'll go through. I mean, I heard you say what you said a few times, caught glimpses of it, whatever. You're saying you don't want to put words in his mouth. Bad Cookies is here. Thank you for joining us, Bad Cookies. Fuck this technology that never works. But and I see NP Mest says he's pro crypto and that he loves blockchain tech. So maybe you should share with us your perspective about that. We shouldn't just say, "Oh, fuck you. You're pro crypto. We're anti crypto. I don't like you now." So maybe we could have a nice conversation about what do you think is good about it, and we can try and maybe give you good reasons why we think it's a bad idea. Because to me, cryptocurrency is a way that capitalism is looking to save itself. It's created so much damage, and this evil wants to find a way to carry on doing that. And people recognize the problems with with the fiat currency and with the gold standard and everything that preceded the fiat currency. People know that we need something new, but they're not quite ready to admit that what they're pushing for, this cryptocurrency, may very well just be pouring gasoline on the fire that's already kind of eating us all alive. So go ahead and, if you're still there, NP, Mest, please make your case for crypto and blockchain. I'd love to hear it. The ads are taking Abby down. Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Am I breaking up?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Okay. The StreamYard was like shutting down. So.
And yes, Cookies has confirmed. If you're asking if we should ban crypto, I would vehemently say yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was trying to say when I kept cutting out. I thought that's what he was saying. So okay.
I think a lot of our regular viewers would agree with us on that. But we are probably in a minority, like a pretty significant minority. I think a lot of people are a little bit ready to be duped by the next best thing of crypto, whatever. If crypto takes over and becomes the main thing, won't that mean that people in poverty will be in yet more poverty? Exactly. That's not what people care about to fix or whatever, unless they end up in poverty. And then they'll have the whole thing about, well, I fucked up or whatever, but I'm going to prove to myself that I'm not as dumb as all these other poor people who deserve to stay dumb because they're too dumb to be rich, you know? Even though there's lots of rich people that are really stupid, and there's intelligence has nothing to do with how they're wealthy. So Cookie says crypto is a giant Ponzi scheme. The only reason people support it is because they already put their money into it and don't want to lose their money. But please understand, you're going to lose your money. Yeah. Unless they can be an effective trader, in which case you have successfully mastered the ruthlessness of capitalism. So fuck you. Right? Because there are people who can make money even in any kind of industry, you know, like in the stock market. It's just the same thing as crypto. Stocks are fucking toxic. Most people who mess with them lose their money on them. But there are certain people, probably the people with psychopathic tendencies, that seem to have a knack for exploiting that system that is designed for predators like them. So. But with crypto, just like stocks, just like capitalism in general, there are only winners because there are many losers. That's how it works. Exactly. How do you give crypto to homeless people? It's how do you feed a man or give a man a fish? You feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish. You feed him for a lifetime. So you give him a crypto wallet, not crypto. The stock markets have already crashed many, many times, but now they use the instant reset button to reinflate the bubble overnight. That AI bubble, I noticed people are behind, I think. The AI bubble popped like 4 times already. And people keep saying, when is the AI bubble going to pop? When that AI bubble pops, hell's going to come. We're living out the hell that's already come from the bubble popping, but they managed to make the narrative in the media that all is well, nothing happened, nothing to see here. So it's amazing, right? If you could see, like, if it were like weather happening around you, where we'd be like in a climate change towards like a snowball Earth, right? But that's because you can't see the economics unless you want like plugged into all the data or whatever, like you go work on the stock market or whatever, then you can see the fucking tsunami waves hitting people. But the rest of us, we don't see it happening or whatever. We don't know what to look at.
Would this be a good time to mention the late stage capitalism betting again? For those who weren't
that
here
was
on
interesting.
Tuesday.
People probably missed that. You were sharing an interesting video about how, hey, did you know that they're like betting on humanity? You know, they're making tons of money on like, oh, is there going to be a famine in Gaza this year? Oh, look, I just made $100,000 because I said definitely yes.
Yeah, would polio make a comeback by such and such a time? And you bet on that. So just like with football,
will Maduro
basketball,
be fucking kidnapped?
Yeah. So just like with football, basketball, boxing, and people are betting on it, you best believe they're looking at those bets and deciding who wins, who loses based on the bets that have been placed. So when we start betting on humanity, what the fuck do you think they're going to do? The same thing. But now we're not just talking about a football game. Now we're talking about lives.
Yeah. But this is where the uncomfortable truth is that they kind of always have been betting on us since, like, remember the Coliseum?
Well, the more uncomfortable truth is now they're opening that same betting to the population, to the public. And that's fucking scary because now you are desensitizing humanity to bet against itself for the love of money.
That's exactly. I appreciate that. That's an important part. The oh, it's just gambling. Whatever. It's like, no, we know based on the science of what happens with gamblers is, like, their prefrontal cortex, just like drug addicts, they lose their empathy, right? Because of all that process. So that's something that you cannot let the libertarians win on. That needs to be regulated, right? That needs to be banned. You can't let them do that because of the consequences of what it will do to their mind, and then what they will do to us, to all of us, because of what's happened to their mind. The whole thing that they use against us that I really have come to despise, in order to lock someone up for mental health reasons. If you're a danger or threat to the people around you or yourself, we have the right to take away your rights. So we could do that theoretically with these fucking people gambling on society, right? No. It doesn't apply to them. It doesn't apply to a billionaire. Well, fuck you then. Don't ever tell me that I'm a danger to anyone or to myself, whatever. Don't ever use that excuse for any legal purpose, because you're not using it on the people we need to use it on the most. So what? Yeah. I see MP mess.
I hope people know what I'm talking about in the chat.
Yeah, what's that?
If you don't, just I was like, I hope people know what we're referring to in the chat. If you don't, let me know.
I see MP Mess was replying about, we asked him to tell us about why he likes crypto.
Him or her, we don't know.
Him or her, yeah. I'm guessing it's a him because the picture is of a guy. I'm guessing he's a black guy. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, okay.
Blockchain, yeah, maybe. Never know. Blockchain is merely a ledger and tokenization of real-world assets is the present. Or in the present, I think he... and then there's some disagreement going on. I don't know if I think that sounds a bit reductive, a little oversimplification. That sounds like the argument that the crypto bros use, though. But is the tokenization of real world assets such a simple thing? Isn't there some kind of danger in that? You know, people don't like being tokenized. So why would a good idea for our assets to be?
We're not going to agree on everything. You know, we're allowed to agree to disagree on certain things.
Well, we kind of have to.
There's a line.
Groupthink and echo chambers aren't exactly an effective means of achieving anything, except for maybe confirmation bias and stroking your ego. A simple Google search will bring you up to date on the real world assets and which chains they are using. This is my problem, is that using a Google search is never simple, because Google has a massive conflict of interest when it comes to information. The ones who are dominating the information are not necessarily trustworthy as far as a source of information anymore. But then since they're dominating the info, they're the ones who have the majority of it. So
you straight, Michael?
was that somebody send over a wellness check? No, I'm good. It's actually really important not to be. What is this? What do they always say? If I ever show up dead, or I love my life. I have no suicidal tendencies whatsoever. I love everyone in my life. I love myself. I don't intend to do anything like that.
All right. I don't know enough about crypto to like keep belaboring the point.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Well, if I keep trying to read that article, it's just gonna. So maybe I'll switch to this next one, because it's like a new magazine article. So it says 16-minute read. We won't need to read the whole thing either, but it's the rise and fall. We got it on this. Let me put it on the screen here. The rise and fall of cryptocurrency in Nigeria. Yeah, a little bit bigger. The faltering Naira, the local currency, just like in, I bet you, Iran, a lot of people are crypto bros, because it makes a whole lot more sense to be a crypto bro when your currency ain't worth shit. You know, but even people in the West whose currencies are strong relative to all these, worthless currencies, they still are obsessed with crypto. But we also still have massive problems with our economy, and we're overvalued in the West for sure, which is why all these currencies are undervalued. The Naira has a lot, it should be fucking rising, just like a lot of currencies, where like the whole thing that China's plan to de-dollarize, that is what the world, it's the natural, logical, historical process that should unfold for the benefits of all of these nations. It's just the right thing to do, except America says no. So the faltering Naira has drawn people to digital alternatives, but scams have proliferated and the government is cracking down. This is from October 15th, 2024. Seems so long ago already, by the way. On the evening of May 29th, 2024, David Adeleke, a Nigerian Afrobeat music star known worldwide as Davido, announced the launch of a new cryptocurrency bearing his name, Timeless Davido. Sounds Trumpian. This was not Adeleke's first foray into the cryptocurrency world. In 2021, the Grammy-nominated singer had touted two other digital coins, Rap, Doge, and Ichoke, both of which have since faded into obscurity. Normally, cryptocurrencies are introduced to the public with a white paper, a public document detailing information about the asset, its founders, the team that programmed it, and other technical details that may help potential investors make informed decisions. For Timeless Davido, however, there was little information about the cryptocurrency available outside of social media. Appearing on live audio discussions on X, formerly Twitter, the pop artist pitched the dream of a $30 million market capitalization for the cryptocurrency to his over 15 million followers. Hodl, we are just starting. I don't understand what that means. 30 million soon to come. He wrote in one of a series of posts invoking a cryptocurrency acronym that urges investors to hold on for dear life, probably to assets rather than sell in a panic. Within hours, Timeless Davido surged to a market capitalization of $10 million, a serious case of fear of missing out. A well-known phenomenon in the cryptocurrency community ensued as more latecomers scrambled to buy the token at ever higher prices. This is how cryptocurrency works. So I don't know about if who's our friend here, or NP Mest. I don't know what you think about the Ponzi scheme nature of cryptocurrencies, but would you advocate for a Ponzi scheme if you were told that that's what cryptocurrency is? That's mainly why we're against it. Let me get back here. Among the hundreds of thousands caught up in the fever was a university student named Itohan, who couldn't resist the lure of cashing in on the speculative frenzy. I realized there was a massive pump, she said, of the sudden increase in the price of the cryptocurrency. Influencers were doing PR, and I thought he had created magic, so I bought some of the coins worth $50. It was a common sentiment. Nigeria's growing cultural infatuation with cryptocurrency is not taking place in a vacuum. The backdrop to the country's growing crypto fever is the breakdown of its traditional financial system, in particular its mismanaged national currency, which has generated massive inflation and other hardships for ordinary Nigerians. This is a recurring theme, eh? Let's blame the government for mismanaging the currency when what has the government been forced to do? To betray the people and give America what it wants, destroying actively their own interests. So it's mismanaged by the West because of the Western puppets in power. But then they just don't ever mention that when they say that the government needs to change, right? So NP says, crypto isn't a Ponzi, LOL. I don't know why you should be laughing out loud. It's a serious thing to consider if you're a crypto investor. But you're entitled to our opinion. Yes, that's okay. So I think we're probably not gonna. We might have to agree to disagree on this.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're not going to agree, and that's okay. That's fine.
I think our friends in the chat there can educate you a bit. Maybe they already are about crypto there. But we also have our bias, right?
It's a good debate to have, and you guys should be debating it. Keep going. It's good.
Yeah. If we're convinced it's not a good investment, we're not really going to be interested in considering it as such. So,
I have crypto.
Oh yeah. See, a lot of people, even people who are skeptical. It just makes sense. It's like the Pascal's wager about God. You know, if God does exist, it makes sense to gamble that he exists instead of gamble that he doesn't exist, because you have nothing to lose by pretending like he existed if he doesn't exist. And if he does exist, by pretending that he does exist, you will gain his favor when you find your way to the afterlife. And the same kind of logic is applied to crypto. If it doesn't work, I lost a bit of money. If it does work, I made a killing. But that's what makes it work as a Ponzi scheme, not as a real fucking currency. So, where am I here? Infatuation is not taking place in a vacuum. Mismanaged currency, which has generated massive inflation and other hardships for ordinary Nigerians. As the real economy has languished, more and more Nigerians have been enticed to the digital world in the hope of striking it rich or merely getting by. So would you even be interested in cryptocurrency if you weren't kind of being enticed into it by having all your other bridges burned as far as currency value? The country's embrace of cryptocurrency now threatens to further destabilize an already struggling society while fueling criminal enterprises that have preyed on Nigerians and foreigners alike. Weeks after he announced the removal of petrol subsidies at the start of his tenure in May 2023, President Bola Tinubu floated Nigeria's national currency, the Naira, thereby allowing market forces to determine its value. More than a year since that experiment began, the Naira has depreciated against the dollar by nearly 70% to become the world's worst performing currency, according to Bloomberg. So that's interesting that that's been happening. Nobody really talks about Nigeria having the worst performing currency, but this is a specific term as far as worst performing, meaning it has, by losing 70% of its value, even if it had much more value than the Venezuelan currency or the Iranian currency is worth way less than the Naira even. The fact that it lost 70% of its value means it's probably lost even more of its value than those other currencies have lost recently, meaning it's performing worse in the moment, even if it's not the most devalued currency of the day, right? It gets kind of complicated. So costs of food and energy have skyrocketed, driving inflation to a 3-decade high of over 32% in August. That's a pretty high food inflation. I thought it's hard for us here, right? This hike in the cost of living has pushed a growing number of young Nigerians to seek refuge from the weak Naira in cryptocurrencies, some of which are seen as a more reliable store of value or a means of quickly increasing wealth. An estimated 33% of the country's population now invest in cryptocurrency, making Nigeria second only to India in adoption worldwide, according to Chain Analysis, a New York-based firm that monitors the use of blockchains, the technological protocol upon which cryptocurrencies are built. Similarly, many Nigerians in the diaspora seeking to evade the complications and high costs of traditional remittance channels, like I was saying, resort to cryptocurrency to send money to their families at home. But this appetite for... Oh, go ahead.
You can finish.
I thought that was maybe just short paragraphs, so I just finish off that one too.
Well, I was just thinking, because it's getting real breezy in the chat, and I was just thinking maybe on Tuesday when we have the open discussion, if Bad Cookies, NP, Golden Monarch want to come up and talk about it with each other, I think that would be very interesting.
Good opportunity to plug our new
episode.
If
you guys care to do that, that would be pretty interesting.
Or here's another thing. Why don't we offer for NP to join our Discord here? Let me see if I can I copy and paste? No, I need to go find the link or whatever on the Discord, and then I'll put it in the chat. Because we can put it on screen like that, but I find we maybe have more success.
I can do it real quick.
Yeah, just
if I could find it. Shit.
Send them an invite from the Discord, and then we can pop it in the chat. And then if he wants to join us, we'd be welcome.
That. So I can't, for some reason, I can't find that banner. So if you edit the banner, copy that, then you could put it in the chat. Because I don't see.
Yeah, I was trying to do that, but I think it's probably easier. I'm just going to go to the Discord.
Okay.
There's an invite to server button, and you can copy a link, and we can pop it in.
This is interesting. NP says, NP says that blockchain to me can defeat capitalism. That's a bold statement. And I want to hear those arguments. That's a bold statement.
Well, this is the Chinese probably agrees with him, because all these nations, whether they're super capitalist or state capitalist like China, people would say, they are trying. They're not going to be left behind on this, or their fear of missing out drives them to see if they can apply this technology to defeat capitalism, as much as capitalists try to use it to save it. So,
excuse me. I think in the chat he put in the Discord link that expires in 24 hours. So
yeah, I don't know about the one that we got on screen. Is the one that we got on screen one that doesn't expire? Because that
doesn't expire. It doesn't expire. Yeah. I mean, as far as I know.
Yeah, we might want to double check that.
Yeah, probably.
So let me see. Again, there's too much reading to do in one night. So, but we learned a few things specifically about Nigerians and crypto. So this appetite for crypto, which by nature is transnational, has been a headache for Nigerian policymakers. Rather than solving the problems of Nigerians, they say the country's shift to cryptocurrency has further damaged the struggling Nigeria while weakening their ability to govern. So it's not just I guess we are in agreement with Nigerian legislators in the government actually trying to manage the rollout of crypto. They're telling us, objectively, crypto has been bad for our economy. So it would be nice if crypto bros, the investors, would listen to what the policymakers say and not pretend like they just say that because they don't like crypto. They say that because crypto's making it hard for them to continue to govern, which is kind of important. We can't shift to crypto as a society if it makes it harder to govern society. Don't you think that's something we should agree on?
Yeah, I thought this comment was pretty interesting from Bad Cookies. He says, if blockchain can defeat capitalism, why is it that capitalists are pushing crypto and want people investing in it.
Because democratizing access to yield-bearing assets is a two-part. Because democratizing access to yield-bearing assets wouldn't be allowed, like Gold Monarch said, the whales and those with far more purchasing power than you will say no. That's the thing that I think naive people getting into crypto don't understand. Their class, they don't have enough class consciousness, maybe, that if you are not already a whale, crypto is not the same to you as it is to them.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry.
I don't want to call them naive, because that might feel condescending to them, especially when just let them answer the question.
Yep.
Right.
I'm just trying to say, I think it's a good point. I don't think I'm wrong when I say crypto doesn't mean the same to lower class someone to a middle class investor as it does to someone who's already a billionaire. The fact that the people like old wealth already exists makes it so that it's not a fair, even if it's a new playing field, it's already not a fair playing field, because you don't have the same purchasing power as they do. They have the ability to buy up a whole lot of crypto at the beginning of the boom. And then even if you bought some of it and you made some money off of it, you have not actually moved the goalpost as far as moving up the class ladder. And because they made a whole lot of money and they depreciated all the value of the fiat currency and whatnot that we use to get the crypto, you're actually left worse off than you were, because the cryptocurrency makes inflation worse, which benefits the ultra wealthy, which is why they don't want to get rid of the inflation systems, which is why crypto is a great idea for them, because it really makes inflation really bad. So it's not a safe haven. This is also a thing. People say it's a safe haven in times of inflation and whatnot. That's been proven false by researchers and whatnot. It's Bitcoin, or it does not survive inflation. It is hit by inflation too. So
I'll be right back. I'm getting really cold and I need to put on like a robe or something. I'll be right back.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see as to what my article is here. What? That's weird. Yeah, there we go. So let's read a bit more of this. Crypto should be banned in our country, or else this bleeding of our currency will continue unabated, wrote one of the president's special advisors on X when Naira sank to record lows in February 2024. Cryptocurrencies became a lifeline for some Nigerians during a wave of unrest in 2020 over police brutality, after the central bank suspended the bank accounts of individuals linked to the protests. Bypassing the banks, the protesters resorted to cryptocurrency donations to help fund their demonstrations. While this function was a godsend for protesters, it further irritated the government as it struggled to reassert control. Citing concerns about money laundering and the financing of terrorism, the Central Bank of Nigeria issued a circular in 2021 prohibiting domestic banks from processing cryptocurrency transactions. It further directed the banks to close accounts linked to cryptocurrency trading. Yet the nature of cryptocurrencies is such that individuals holding them do not need intermediaries to transact. In the wake of these restrictions, cryptocurrency investors in the country resorted to peer-to-peer transactions to continue trading without bank involvement, throwing a major spanner in the works for the government's plan to shut down the cryptocurrencies. So this is like it's like letting a financial contagion, like it's like unleashing a financial virus, you know what I mean, on the financial system. And this bit about protesters is really important.
Okay, I'm back. I found my little footies and everything. Hi, Cobra.
Hey, what's up, Cobra? Blockchain technology and digital assets are far more than cryptos, but they've gotten a bad rap because of the Terra Lunas and FTX and meme coins of the recent years. I'm guessing Terra Luna is a cryptocurrency that I've never heard of. And I heard RXP. I don't know if FTX is something like that. Like there's all these ridiculous names. They sound like brands of cars and stuff, or like the iPad 7. Like all these names are hard for me to take seriously. But yeah, I appreciate the distinction that blockchain is not crypto, and we need to maybe look. Like I need to learn more about blockchain for sure, because there's actually a solid argument that if it's not used in a financial way, it can be used in so many different applications. Like that's something that we don't need to be totally against forever, probably. So it's a regulation issue, not a blockchain issue. I don't know. The issue with blockchain is how do you regulate it? And if it's unregulatable, then that's a blockchain issue, not just a regulation issue. So let's get back to here. Oh, actually, I was going to use this paragraph here to pivot because this article is pretty long, but I got more to talk about and it's getting late. So bypassing the banks, the protesters in 2020 resorted to cryptocurrency donations to help fund their demonstrations. So what is the main problem for a nationalist with cryptocurrency is this is definitely going to overthrow my nation because the West, the CIA is going to use it to fund separatists in my nation. So,
well, hi, John H. Didn't realize you were here.
Yeah, John H. and Cobra just showed up. Thanks for being here, guys. Okay, trying to find the
I'm so done with talking about crypto. I'm all cryptoed out.
Yeah, I'm going to move on to protest now. So October 8th, 2025, this is the newschronicle.com. We stand for the truth, no matter who tells it. Good, I hope. Averting another Gen Z protest in Nigeria. Okay, here's some dense.
Can you make it bigger?
Yeah,
thank you.
Is that big enough? Maybe one more?
One more.
Okay.
There we go.
Why do they always have to have this stupid banner come down like that? That's so annoying. Okay. No, fuck off. How am I supposed to read when you cover half?
That's a big ass banner.
Okay. Oh, no, fuck off. Fuck you, stupid thing. It's because
so
I'm
you
so
might
big.
have to minimize it. Yeah. There we go.
But maybe if I go down and then call it up. No, it has to do that. Whatever. Okay.
You're fine, Golden. Living my life like it's golden. Black Life said the other night, like last Thursday or something, she was like, I don't know what was going on with you. Like, everything Michael was saying, you just started singing. I did? I just must have been in one of those moods. I don't know.
I was getting annoyed because it's like, I feel like I'm making good points and it's people just don't respond to it. It's like, am I not being logical or are they just fucking with me? Or whatever.
No, I was just in a mood where I just wanted to sing. I don't know.
It's all good.
My bad. Now that you're my podcast wife, you got to put up with my shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you're my podcast husband. I'm sorry.
Happy wife, happy life. So the beginning of this article is basically just your first few paragraphs are just explaining who Gen Z are. I think we already all know who Gen Z are. But in case we don't, an online source said they're called Zoomers. Roughly between mid-1990s and early 2010s, generally from 1997 to 2012, whatever. Digital natives. They're the generation. I think we need to all push back against this characterization right here. They're known as the first generation of true digital natives. Okay? The West goes and
do they say that because... Oh, sorry. Do they say that because... Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
They're talking about when they're born or...
No, they mean like they're using the imagery of a native, like an indigenous person. They're just applying it to young people. They're native to the digital world, right?
Well,
instead of the real world.
Maybe... I think they say that because like the internet... Wasn't the internet introduced in like 1994, 95? So maybe that's why they're saying that.
But I'm just saying, typically colonizers don't really like natives, but now all kids everywhere are digital natives. You know what I mean? So for the respect of indigenous cultures, we shouldn't allow them to be just characterizing young kids as natives because the technology has kind of been forced down their throat, and a lot of them are now addicted to it because capitalism had this need to do this to them. So now they're digital natives. Where they're trying to normalize a kid being like all kids these days are going to be hyper technologically advanced or obsessed. And like if you try and teach your kids not to be like that, you're going to intentionally be forcing your kids to be left behind. That's sort of what's happening here. Anyone who's against all this technocracy is a conservative, whatever, reactionary fool. So people got to stop being so uncritically supportive of technocracy, which is, you can have your opinions about crypto, blockchain being useful or whatever, but if blockchain is like the most important technology for technocracy to assert, for transhumanism to assert its dominance over people, pretty hard to make a claim that it's a neutral thing. You know what I mean? So anyway, known as the first generation of true digital natives, having grown up with the internet and smartphones, this generation is also noted for its diversity, its pragmatic approach to finances, concern for social and environmental issues, which are right there with your cryptocurrency, pragmatic approach to finance. You contradict your concern for social and environmental issues, but they're young, so they get confused sometimes. And a focus on work-life balance. Preceded by millennials, blah, blah, blah. Millennials are characterized as digital immigrants. See what I'm saying? Like they're calling everybody immigrants and everybody natives, and they actually hate immigrants.
This wording is real weird. And Rondo, I agree. I meant when it was like available to the public, not when it was developed.
But anyway, I'm trying to skip past this, so because this is all just trying to set the stage a little bit. What the article is about averting another Gen Z protest in Nigeria. So let's try and get to that part of the article. There are protests roiling across countries. We already did a whole episode on that. So if you want to go look in on our catalog for our video about Gen Z protests, we have a couple of them. The young people are taken to the streets en masse in cities around the world in an effort to fight against perceived government corruption, staging contentious protests that have sparked violent clashes with authorities and, at times, turned deadly. So this is one of the things that they're casting these protests around the world as an effort to fight against perceived government corruption. But notice the importance of which governments are perceived as corrupt. And they are always, so far, countries that have embraced the BRICS and the de-dollarization drive. So it's not about crypto is the future. It's because it's a strong investment asset, a sound money kind of thing. It's about crypto's good because people, like, because the US dollar needs it to be, whatever. The countries that are trying to de-dollarize need to be targeted for making crypto popular so that we can make America great again. But that's not the part that they tell you. They just want you to fall for the Ponzi scheme, right?
Oh, Michael, you could say it's a boot.
It's a boot. Did I say it?
No, you said it's about. It sounds so unnatural. It's about.
No, I didn't say it. I feel like
go ahead and say it's a boot.
No, but I feel like I may be one of the Canadians who doesn't, because I'm so close to the American border. My accent might not really have that. I feel like you guys just pick on me for it, for no reason.
Probably.
But yeah.
Because it's funny.
Because it's fun. Yeah.
You're a good sport.
And that's no worries. But I'll bet you there are plenty of Canadians who do say it. So spanning countries in Africa, Asia, and South America in recent weeks, the so-called Gen Z protests have been motivated by a variety of grievances directed at government leadership, from severe shortages of water and power. These, by the way, if we analyze all these severe shortages, they are all things caused by like economic sanctions or just America like ruining these countries in some way, whether with sanctions or another way, you know. Morocco, and it's more likely like Europe, France and stuff that are guilty, but France is just as capitalist as America, right? Peru definitely was America that fucked them up. Okay. Within the past months, the demonstrations have toppled one country's government and contributed to the dissolution of another, as well as resulting in hundreds of arrests and injuries and dozens of deaths. Similar demonstrations have taken place in Kenya, Indonesia, and Philippines. Where we need to find Nigeria. Where is Nigeria? I'm gonna have to find an article here because. Okay, Nigeria has had her fair share of protests, with the most violent one in recent past being the October 2020 End SARS protest, which is why this is what I was saying, it was time to pivot from the last one, whatever the article I was on, because it mentioned the 2020 End SARS protest, but it didn't call it this, right? So let me try and just briefly go back to that. It said, cryptocurrencies became a lifeline for some Nigerians during a wave of unrest in 2020 over police brutality. And the central bank suspended the bank accounts of individuals linked to the protests, but they used cryptocurrency whether they had their bank account banned or not. So the End SARS protest, which led to wanton destruction of properties and deaths, the uprising, which initially took off on social media, especially on Twitter, led to massive street protests in many states in Nigeria. They were led by Nigerian youth who demanded a definitive end to atrocities of the Nigerian police special anti-robbery squad. I was thinking SARS was like that COVID, the breathing thing, but I guess that's more Asia, isn't it? There was the SARS epidemic. So SARS stands for Police Special Anti-Robbery Squad, which was probably like the death squads in Latin America that the government used to suppress the people. So they really needed to be protested against. But then the US, which creates the problem wherever, creates a solution, right? The disbandment of SARS, release of all arrested protesters, compensation for the victims of police brutality, accountability in police operations, and punishment for erring SARS officers, alongside psychological and medical evaluation for all the SARS operatives. I guess those were the demands of the protesters. Amnesty International of October 21, 2020 said at least 56 people died across the country during the protests, which began on October 8, 2020. There was also End Bad Governance protest, in August 2024. So the resurgence of the culture of protest, especially by Gen Z, should be concerning to Nigerian authorities. This country has an estimated 60% youth population, with many of them tech savvy. That's also an important factor to note about. Nigeria has a lot of young people. While it is true that President Bola Tinubu has established a full-fledged youth development ministry. Oh, go ahead.
Africa in general has a lot of young people.
Yeah.
Like they have like one of the youngest populations in the world, the continent of Africa.
That's right. I forgot that. Yeah. So Gen Z protests, look out, Africa, here they come. Because it looks to me like the failing American empire, they are looking to make young people their new like Hitler youth. Okay. So please take it seriously that they want you to die for their country, not yours. Right. So where was I here?
You'll be happy to know that Jacqueline said, like, if we have a lover spat, that the chat isn't on either of our sides. They love us both.
Sounds good. Appreciate you, Jacqueline. She's like the oldest sibling, you know.
Yeah, she's always like the one. Like when me and Black Light will have a dispute, she's like, I'm not on either side.
Always good to have the oldest children are the wisest. We're going to take care of the youngest. So
that's right. Listen to your elders, folks.
Mm-hmm.
She's probably like our age. No, you are like maybe 10 years older than me, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think she's probably in
15.
retirement age, but we love you either way, no matter what, Jack. Where are we? Even though they established the youth development industry, coupled with the existence of the National Youth Council, these measures are not enough to placate the rest of youth who still feel shortchanged and excluded in the decision-making process of the country. Well, because that is by nature necessary for a capitalist regime, especially the young people, can't let them have any power. So, in a smart move, President Tinubu brought back the student loan scheme, where he said in his 65th independence anniversary broadcast that approximately 510,000 students across 36 states and the FCT have benefited from this initiative, covering 228 higher institutions. As of September 10th, the total loan disbursed was 99.5 billion naira, while the upkeep allowance stood at 44.7 billion. So they obviously are making efforts to invest in their young people, but I don't know, the balancing act between like China and America makes it so that they can make promises, but they maybe can't deliver. So under the immediate past administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, the age qualification for electoral contest as president was reduced from 40 to 35, and that of House of Representatives and State House of Assembly were reduced from 30 to 25, in what was widely known as Not Too Young to Run Act. On the flip side, however, while many youth seek to contest elections, the highly monetized electoral process prevent them from emerging as candidates or winning at the general elections. Sounds like a problem all over the world, especially in America, where whether you're young or not, if you want to engage in the electoral process, you can't because too much money in politics. So I'm of the considered view that more youth need to be involved in the decision-making process and given leadership role. Government at all levels need to create the enabling environment for Nigerian youth to get jobs or be self-employed. This is why government needs to double down on insecurity, corruption, and the rising cost of living. So how do you actually do that, though? You have to de-dollarize.
I find this interesting what you're saying because I didn't know for the longest time that the Constitution was meant to be rewritten every 19 years. And the reason that they had set it up that way was so the youth that were coming up, like as things evolve, the youth would be able to rewrite the Constitution based on what was going on at the times for them, right? And if it was set up that way, why the fuck is everybody in Congress 75 and up, mostly? Like, how do we get to this?
America, as a young nation, never wanted to turn itself into an oligarch or a fucking gerontocracy. You know, that was, or an oligarchy for that matter. They didn't want either of those things, but that's what America is now.
And that's what we are now. So,
yeah.
So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yep. But that is that interesting thing about this Monroe Doctrine was at America's conception, it was about we need to, you know, have our own, like every other nation nowadays. It was all about we need our own autonomy, our own sovereignty, because that's what's good for a nation. We need to break from the power of Britain, right?
And Jacqueline, that's the U.S. Constitution, not Nigerian.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, but then you were talking about Congress, so I figured it must have been the U.S. you were talking about.
Yeah, U.S.
But it's funny that it's every 19 years because that's like the what do you call it? The Metonic cycle, the big bad Jewish Metonic cycle of their calendar is like 18 and a half years. No coincidence, pretty sure. Why is the age of?
That's news. That's news to me. I was today years old when I heard that.
The Metonic cycle is very interesting to see this. Before they had the Gregorian calendar and they had the leap years every 4 years, they had the Jewish people had their own calendar that has this Metonic cycle where they have several different periods throughout the years of this 18-year cycle that they manipulate the calendar to keep it from drifting.
Not to get off the point too much, but like the calendar is actually supposed to be 13 months. It's supposed to go by the
because a lunar solar calendar. Yeah.
Lunar solar calendar is supposed to go by cycles of the moon, which is also the cycle.
We abandoned lunisolar calendars for solar alone, so only solar calendars.
And the lunar calendar is also supposed to revolve around not just the cycle of the moon, but also the cycle of a woman's menstruation.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting how we went from matriarchal ideology to the patriarch.
That's one of the ways that you can see the actual shifts that happen historically. Yeah, people kind of might doubt that. The patriarchy doesn't exist. What are you talking about? It's existed for a very long time. Okay. And there's actually no disputing it. Same thing that the matriarchy did used to exist. People might doubt that. But there used to be a time in history where women had more power than men across society.
That was more of a African concept.
Mm-hmm. But
anyway, just throwing a little tidbit out there.
I'm just saying that is interesting, though. You look for that Metonic cycle, and other cycles seem to reflect that. Wherever there's economic cycles, there's the age majority, whatever. A lot of people are. You're an adult when you're 18. I bet you this got something to do with that. But maybe I'm wrong. So let me just finish off here. This is almost over. Well, I basically did finish. Whatever. Should these continue to fester, no matter the kind of gestures government may extend to Nigerian youth, it will not be enough. Youth want equity, justice, and fairness. Will they get it? So that was.
So can I just read? Can I read this real quick? Just so people aren't on the same page as you about the Metonic cycle, because this is something I hadn't heard before. It says the Metonic cycle is a nearly 19-year period where the moon's phases, like new moon, full moon, etc., repeat on nearly the same calendar dates. A vital concept of lunisolar calendars, like the Greek and Hebrew calendars, to align lunar months with the solar year. It involves 235 lunar months, synodic months.
Yeah.
Fitting perfectly to 19 solar years.
Yeah, I did a bunch of research back on that day. Before I met you, I was very interested in that. And before I was whatever on Twitter or anything, like on my social media, this was when I just didn't talk to anybody, or I was doing research like that. Because I wanted to see if I think we need a new calendar. I don't think we should keep the one we have. With the leap years, that's a reason why we should try and there is a better one. If we could come up with it, we should use that. So there's been lots of people done lots of research on it. There is this thing about a 364-day year, and the leap year can be like the 365th day, but that will happen like around New Year's or in the middle of the summer. And that would be a more accurate system, but we're not allowed to have the better system. Why? Because the religious people take precedence over non-religious people, of course. Their interests matter more than ours, of course. So we're stuck with their flawed systems because their holidays would make no sense if we had a new calendar. So that's the quiet part out loud. So
I really thought you were about to go off. I was waiting for it.
I could go off.
I was here for it.
I'm just a little bit. I got some resignation over that because we could have nice things. We're just not allowed. Other people's conceit is more important. So.
So just to finish the thought, so it requires 7 years within the cycle to add an extra month to stay in sync with the seasons. It was discovered by Meton of Athens around 432 before the Common Era. This cycle helps predict eclipses and is fundamental for determining dates, like why they put Easter in there, like Easter.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Easter shifts around every year, and it's kind of annoying to figure out why and everything, but it's because the calendar is not perfect. But Easter itself is kind of like
Thanksgiving shifts, right?
Yeah,
too, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense really to be so fixated on these things. as if they're such a big deal or whatever. Like one of the things I got disillusioned with this research is the way that the nature of time itself makes it so that to have a perfectly perfect calendar seems to be impossible. No matter how perfect we make it, there's going to be some kind of little bit of a flaw. And it's got to do with the fact that as the Earth's rotation, like it slows down and speeds up by microseconds, like just a half a second or something each day or every other day. So some days are literally like longer than others when you time it by the second. And then over time, when you try and make a calendar that's to correct that, those little shifts are like impossible to assess, to compensate for going forward with an automatic system. You have to observe all the physical changes that make the counting of time or whatever hard to do accurately. And so it has to be a constant supervision. You can't design a system that will automatically clock it for you, because you won't know when you walk away if it's still doing it accurately or not.
You're being funny. Okay. So Sean says supposedly April 1st is the actual first day of the calendar. Jacqueline says, well, that was a joke.
See, April 1st is funny because I think that they've obscured the origin of April 1st, whatever. The reason why it's called April Fool's Day is because there was the people who were still using the Julian calendar, like in France. They were falling behind the seasons, getting more and more out of sync. And then the British, who had adopted the Gregorian calendar first for decades, were proving over time that they had made the better choice to switch. So April Fool's Day was the day that they would make fun of the people who had yet to switch to their superior system. But we don't talk about it. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but you won't.
No, you're right. So
that's what it is. Like,
okay, so while January 1st is the widely accepted New Year, April 1st was the start of the year in older calendars like the Roman Janus calendar before Pope Gregory the 13th. Established January 1st for the Gregorian calendar in 1582, though today April 1st is known for April Fool's Day, not the year's beginning. Interesting.
Because when I was looking into that, it tells you nobody really knows why April Fool's Day started. At least that's what the computer told me when I looked it up. This is a scary thing about Google searches now, or whatever your search engine you're using. What you search today and what you search in 5 years from now is going to give you two different answers. Not only that, but what you search and what somebody in a computer or whatever in the town next door or in the country next door searches the exact same search on the exact same search engine and gets probably two different answers. Okay? That's not good. But I think actually, John, I don't know if I said hi to you. I think he's saying this more concisely than I said it, whatever. He's the second is calculated from the oscillations of the cesium atom. So, but regardless, because this is what they do, atomic time is so much more accurate, whatever. But regardless, space-time is relative to gravity, so it's kind of irrelevant. Whatever the calendar is, like counting time is kind of irrelevant because it's relative to gravity, and gravity is in constant motion and fluctuation. So we can count it, but it's sort of arbitrary where we picked up and where we leave off. So. But it's still so valuable. So it makes no sense to stop keeping track of time. This is where the idea that time is an illusion, whatever, that's a good way to like become schizophrenic or whatever. But a lot of people believe that there is no such thing as time. But yes and no, right? Even if there is no such thing as time, it makes sense for us to create it. Okay, just like whatever that's saying about even if God doesn't exist, we should create it.
Very good conversation in the chat. Thank you guys for that. Hopefully you guys look. I really want you guys to come up and have that crypto conversation on Tuesday. I am not going to get that drunk on Tuesday.
I think for Tuesday, I was.
Although it was really fun to get that drunk, but
we just set a ceiling. We need to have a maximum hour limit for how long we go. I can't go that long, or whatever. I don't like doing my stream.
Well, remember
on stream for all, and I need
remember
to.
We had talked about like we had talked about like, people we could drop off as hosts.
If someone else wants to help host us, then we don't have to do the show. Can run without us a bit, yeah. But for now, we were saying let's do a Tuesday stream, and if we go like into Wednesday, then we're doing a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday stream. So if we're gonna do that, we just want to be clear about what we're doing. So I don't like the idea of streaming for 12 hours though.
It was like a little pilot, so we didn't know what we were doing. It
was fine.
We were just doing it.
Yeah, and we got time. We're not working. But...
Lance, now you're doing me dirty now.
I think you're supposed to put an LOL or something, a little smiley to make us know you're joking.
You're doing me dirty now. Well, you guys came back, so I wasn't that bad, I guess.
That's the thing about entertainment is like people love watching a train wreck. That's why I was getting worried. I was like, "Oh, we gotta get off before this gets close to where we don't want it to go." That's okay. It's all in good fun.
He said, "Call it Drunken Tuesdays." No, I can't do that again. That was a lot.
Yeah, that's that. Thanks, Jack. Always there to put me in my place there. I do hope Mike not being able to go that long in grounds for divorce. Too bad I'm already separated.
She's trying to keep us together.
Oh yeah, no, I forget about when people talk about divorce. Makes me think about my ex. And today I'm running around with doing child custody stuff. And it's like, oh, I hate this shit. But I'm feeling better prepared. Feeling like I'm fighting my side of the fight. I'm not just getting knocked down. So.
I mean, from what I see, it seems like you guys are doing good co-parenting.
Yeah.
I like to see it.
I
met his ex. She seems very nice.
Yeah, it seems to me like we never needed to go to court, but that was her decision. So, anyway, let's not get into that.
People changed.
No, I know. Yeah, people change and then they change again.
Fucking right.
Are we wrapping up?
So I'm locked in. I met your mom too. I'm locked in. I'm part of the family now.
I don't know who else there is to. Oh, actually, as far as
I just met your uncle tonight.
There is this one thing I wanted. Yeah. It's like I don't know who else there is to meet. I was gonna say, but let me share. I told you I found a video that we could maybe go out on if you want.
You could put it in the private chat.
From Minpress News. So
okay.
Yeah, here we go.
Yes, it's 3 hours. It might be time to wrap it on up. I hope you guys got
I might have more stuff to share, but it's probably not all in one night. You know, I've got to find another. Yeah, you missed it, Cookies. My mom was sitting right in that chair over there at the beginning of the stream on Tuesday. So everyone who was there on Tuesday got to meet my mom. She didn't really come to say hi, or she just waved at people.
She was waving. She was doing her thing. She was on her phone doing her thing.
Yeah, she's very supportive. I appreciate her. I don't want to be getting a reputation for being a mama's boy. But
what's wrong with being a mama's boy?
That's what I'm saying, about to say, or whatever. It's not exactly like there's anything wrong with being a mama's boy, except there's a problem with being a child who never grows up, right?
Right. I was just about to say that. Like, nothing's wrong with being a mama's boy as long as you are presenting yourself as a man in the world. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like Sean's just saying, moms deserve love, whatever. It's like there is no shame in loving your parents. If you have a healthy, functional family relationships with your family, whatever, good. That's not something to be ashamed of, not something to be made fun of. Okay, that's more of something that people who don't have healthy relationship with their parents, where they might want to tear you down to make themselves feel better about themselves, right? But family should be something that we respect, you know.
Yes, moms are awesome. Don't take them for granted. Dads are awesome too. I don't think dads get enough appreciation. But I also think some of that stems from, well, it depends. Dads don't get enough appreciation. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
It's because of that patriarchy business, right? Because men have always had too much of an advantage. Ironically, it means that dads don't get much respect because men have been dominating women too much, and so we respect women as mothers in that role, but it kind of plays to the gender norms of patriarchal society. So if we want to have some equality here, as far as respect, has to do with understanding, being woke about stuff, understanding the patriarchy ain't good, but it was there and it still is there and should not be there, right?
Rondo, sorry for your loss. I understand how that, it's like when, like, I had to come to the realization, oh shit, I'm a fatherless child now. Not because he wasn't there, you know, my parents were married for 49 years, almost made it to 50, but he couldn't hang on that long.
Yeah. And look out for Cookies and Rathbone always going after your mamas. I don't know if you know Rathbone. Check him out.
I do know Rathbone, yes. I was watching him the other day, actually.
He's funny.
And one day we played this guy, y'all called him Timu Rathbone, the redhead.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all remember that.
That guy was, yeah, that was
Timu Rathbone. that was hilarious.
Good description of that guy. Whatever. He doesn't pop up in my feeds. I don't watch like Facebook videos. I recognize the slippery slope. If I start watching them, I'll be spending all day on Facebook videos. So,
and then that guy Valenti, I don't know if you
know him.
Watched him yet? I think he's funny too. It's like this Italian American dude, and he is like off the chain in his rants.
I'm sure there's a lot that I'm missing by not.
He is cussing and fussing the entire time.
But I'm kind of okay with it. So go ahead.
I mean, I like it because I'm like, okay, well, he's saying what I want to say. But I guess because of my upbringing or something, I'm way more reserved most times when I really want to just like be screaming at the top of my lungs.
Yeah.
But
that's where
I can't seem to bring myself to it yet.
But if you find them saying something, then you can bring it, and I'll be able to see it, and I won't have to follow them so much. So.
Okay. All right, so we're wrapping up here.
Yeah.
So
let me share this. Or I put it in the private chat, didn't I?
Yeah, I have it up. I'll share it. So so let's just recap. We'll be around on Tuesday. We're not going to stay on as long, probably, or we'll play it by ear if somebody else wants to host and let it keep going. We'll just play it by ear when it happens. But I definitely would like to see NP, Bad Cookies, and Golden Monarch have a crypto conversation. That could be one of the conversations to be had.
Yeah, not sure if NP's still there, but thanks for popping in. Always good to see new viewers. Please like, share, subscribe. I hate saying that, but it does help with the algorithms, I guess.
You kind of have to. Like, we have to get over that.
Yeah.
You got to say it.
But if no one's ever heard of Mint Press News, that's what this video, that's what this video is. Check out Mint Press News, because they are one of the few outlets of actual journalists that do journalism still. So, and they need some support. They've been targeted. Their donations, they had like a $50,000 donation withheld from PayPal or whatever. I forget. GoFundMe maybe. So help them out. Get some awareness about their plight out there if you can. So
how long? Let me see how long this video. Okay. This is an hour. So I have to just find a good place to stop and just let it ride.
But this is germane to the topic, right? About Nigeria, Sudan, everything comes down back to Israel, right?
I think I know exactly who this lady is. I've watched her a few times.
Good.
I think this is her. Okay, so let's do that. See you guys on Tuesday, hopefully. If you can't make it, that's fine. See you back on Thursday. If you can't make that, that's fine. But we know we're family here, so we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
See you soon.
Continues to meddle in Africa. Foreign intervention is fueling a bitter civil war inside of Sudan right now, and the Trump administration is pushing a line about a genocide against Christians in Nigeria, with an eye on military intervention. And across the Sahel region, anti-imperialist forces continue to rise and organize, dreaming of a united Pan-African continent that will resist US imperialism and reject Israeli colonization. Here to talk to me more about this is Ahmed Kabalo. He is a British Sudanese journalist and the CEO and co-founder of African Stream, and of course, a friend of Mint Press News. African Stream, as many of you know, was a media outlet shut down by the US government for publishing inconvenient truths. Welcome to the show, Ahmed.
Thank you, Mana. And I'm so glad that you guys are still on Instagram. You gave us all a scare when they took you down, but luckily they put you straight back up.
Yeah, the timing was very interesting because I had just returned from Silicon Valley when we got taken down on Instagram, talking about, US-Israeli Unit 8200 inside of Silicon Valley. But we're back and we're here, and we will continue to talk about the forever war machine. I think a lot of people's eyes right now are on three different places. One of them, of course, is Venezuela, with the United States shutting down the airspace there. But then what has really captured the hearts and minds of the globe has been this humanitarian crisis inside of Sudan, which is such a tragedy. But I think a lot of people forget, or might not even know, just how much of that is the result of US imperialism for decades to turn Sudan into the failed state it is today. Right now, the Sudanese government forces have been battling the rebel faction, the Rapid Support Forces, or the RSF. And the RSF is now in control of much of the southwest of the country. So we'd love to get your expertise as somebody who covers Africa. You are Sudanese as well. So could you just tell us, how did we get to this humanitarian crisis that we see today?
Well, it's a long story. In 2011, Sudan was broken into two republics, the Republic of Sudan and the Republic of South Sudan. Since then, we've had two civil wars in the south, and now a proxy war in the north. South Sudan, according to the World Bank, last year was declared the world's poorest country. Sudan, according to the UN, is the world's worst humanitarian crisis. So by any measure, any way you look at it, it's been a disaster for both countries. And instrumental in the division of the two Sudans was the evangelical right from the United States. Constantly, they played adverts of, we need to stop the massacre of Christians by the Arabs and the Muslims in the north. It doesn't mean that wasn't true, but it was an oversimplistic analysis of what was going on, which was essentially a fight for people's rights, for people's autonomous rights, for people's rights to live freely and in dignity in their own land. It wasn't just about religion. There was a lot more complex economic, political reasons for, the two bloody civil wars that had happened in Sudan since 1956, when the country became independent. So the US pushed for this separation. The Israelis supported the rebel groups in both civil wars. So the first civil war that broke out soon after independence, and then the second civil war, where both rebel groups were supported by the Israelis under the guise of my enemy's enemy is my friend. And the Israelis would constantly use Sudan as a distraction. So whenever people talk about the real Israeli apartheid, they'd say, well, it's nothing compared to the Arab apartheid that the Christians of South Sudan are facing in Sudan. Again, I'm not saying it's...
Okay, so I'm going to pause it really because Michael suggested I move it up to a certain point, which I'm going to do right now. But I did want to just speak on this because I used to date someone from Sudan.
It was good though.
And I was living in Minnesota. Yeah, and I thought that was good to say that.
That was still relevant. Yeah.
So so I used to date someone in Sudan. I mean, who was from Sudan when I was living in Minnesota. He was actually an Arab. Most people in northern Sudan are Arabs. Most people in southern Sudan are African and Christian. So northern Sudan is Muslim and southern Sudan is Christian. So that's a good way for them to separate people and
very much in common, right?
Exactly. So I did want to kind of mention that. So I did put up to where I think you said 3850.
That's where I looked at the video. That's where it's in segments. If you look,
yep.
That's where the Nigeria segment starts, the economic analysis. So.
Okay, so here we go.
And this also comes as the backdrop of 2011. What happened in 20?
Sorry, what?
It's just this was a outro video, so
yep.
Now I think it's
so we're out. We're out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a good one.
2011. They funded the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group. They encouraged rebels from all over the world, but particularly in Africa, to flood to Libya to overthrow Muammar Gaddafi. After they overthrew Muammar Gaddafi in a country as large as Libya, what happened to all those weapons? They obviously got sold in the black market. Now Africa has become the epicenter of a terrorism problem, which we didn't have before 2011. We're now seeing a terrorist threat in Burkina Faso, a terrorist threat in Mali, a terrorist threat in Niger, terrorist threat in the Central African Republic, terrorist threat in Chad. These places didn't have terrorism problems before 2011. Of course, the US doesn't include this in their analysis. You know, we've made life more difficult for Christians, Muslims, and animists, and all Africans because of our 2011 backing of militant Takfiri rebel groups in Libya. So yeah, I mean, and Nicki Minaj's involvement, I don't know what to say. It's so opportunistic and devoid of any real compassion, because you mentioned the Palestinian Christians. We could also mention the Syrian Christians, who, after the guy that was shooting basketball hoops in Washington, Ahmed al-Sharaa, formerly known as al-Jilani, after his group of terrorist fighters took over Syria, what did we see happen to Christians? What did we see happen to Alawites? What did we see happen to Druze? Where was Nicki Minaj then? It's clearly about the oil in Nigeria, the mineral wealth in Nigeria, and they don't like the idea that not the Nigerian government, but Nigerian businessmen have been taking economic decisions for Nigeria's sovereignty. Who am I talking about? A guy called Dangote is an oil baron. I'm not usually a fan of billionaire oil barons, but one of the things that he did was he was like, this is ridiculous. We're the biggest oil producer in Africa, yet we export oil, but then we import fuel. How does that make any sense? Why don't we have any oil refineries in Nigeria? And of course, this sent a huge shockwave to the multinational oil companies, because they're like, well, if this happens in Nigeria, this might happen in Angola, this might happen in South Sudan, this might happen in many of the other countries, Libya, where they have huge oil reserves. So I think it's about putting Nigeria back in its place. It's about securing mineral wealth in Nigeria and securing long-term oil interest in Nigeria. It's not about Nigerian Christians. And also, it's not about Nigerians, because it's not just Christians that are being killed.
I want to play this video of how Malcolm X saw somebody like Nicki Minaj.
just told you a little while ago, these leaders that they call leaders, this included Lena Horne, this included Dick Gregory, and this included comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the white community and over the black community by the white community and have been made celebrities and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear.
I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage in calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief.
So what's crazy about all of this is that Trump is threatening to intervene in Nigeria, but actually Nigeria has been one of Washington's closest allies in the region, especially under President Bola Tinubu. So usually it is, you know, when the US wants to intervene in a country, it's countries that are aligned with Iran or North Korea or Venezuela. And in this case, it's actually the complete opposite. So then also Nigeria is a key member of the ECOWAS, which is the Western Approved Economic and Military Alliance. Could you tell us a little bit more about the US-Nigeria relationship under Tinubu?
Yeah, I mean, so when there was the revolutionary coup that happened in Nigeria, which is obviously English-speaking country, I say that because usually France's client states in the region are the former Francophone countries, was pushing for ECOWAS, which is a bloc which is dominated and controlled by France, to invade Niger and reinstall the French-backed president, Mohamed Bazoum. And that's what started the AES. So Burkina Faso and Mali said, if you invade Niger, you'll have to invade us too, because we're going to come to Niger's defense. And so that started the military cooperation between the three countries, which then led to a military cooperation to fight against the terrorist groups, which then led to the economic cooperation. And now we see AES, where their foreign policy is mirrored. If you do something in one country, if you know, when they had their problem with Ukraine, the Burkina Faso and Mali, when Mali had a problem with Ukraine, Burkina Faso and Mali also issued statements of condemnation. So what's actually one of the theories that this isn't about Nigeria at all. This is really about Niger and really about breaking up the AES. I mentioned it earlier, Eritrea was the only country to not have a military-to-military alliance with AFRICOM. The second country was Niger. So it stands out in the sense of fantastic things have happened in Burkina Faso and Mali, but they kicked out the French. It's impressive, but France is not the US. The US is a whole nother power. Niger kicked out the French and the US. And as you mentioned before, there's something called the threat of the bad example. Yeah, the reason why they're determined to take over Venezuela, the reason why they're determined to take over Nicaragua and Iran and all these other places, is it's not just about what's going on in those countries. It's about the threat of the bad example that someone else might copy. Someone else might do their own Bolivarian revolution. Somewhere else in the region might have their own Islamic revolution, like what happened in Iran. And what they're worried about Niger is, hold on a second, if Niger is able to kick out our largest drone base in Africa to say that they don't want to have any military cooperation with AFRICOM, what happens if other countries follow suit? What happens if Djibouti, which hosts a huge US base, follows suit? What happens if Liberia follows suit? So yeah, it does seem odd that it would attack an ally like this and threaten to attack an ally like this. But how the US operates, many people are saying, yeah, they might be talking about Nigeria, but don't be surprised if this is really about the AES and really about punishing Niger of daring to take a sovereign decision and deciding who its military partners should be and who its military partners won't be.
Well, yeah, and Nigeria in general is just such an interesting country because 59% of the country actually holds a positive view of Israel. Nigeria is a very close ally of the state of Israel. And we have also Chevron, I think it's Chevron, correct me if I'm wrong, that's operating also inside of Nigeria, you know, taking up all that oil. And if you actually look at what's happening in the places where Nigeria is extracting the oil, or Chevron is extracting the oil, it's like there's like miles longs of like slums, people living in abstract poverty. Like it's such a perfect example of how like neoliberalism, I guess you could say, took over a country, brought the corporations in, allied it with Israel. Now it's like this kind of propped up, you know, US backed country. And that's what the results are people living in this abstract poverty while these, you know, the hawks come in. Anything that you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, what you just mentioned is a place called the Niger Delta region, where it's not just Chevron, it's Shell, it's ExxonMobil, it's Total, all of them. It's been a field day. And there was real climate change activists in Nigeria who were protesting against this. And we have released documents that show that Shell pushed the military dictatorship of Nigeria at the time to push to execute these people. So you know, in many ways, Nigeria is not a real state. It's a neo-colonialist wet dream. Yeah, it never had any revolutionary leadership. It has all the potential in the world. So I've said this on a previous podcast, but look at how Nigerians perform outside the country. In the UK, year on year, Nigerian students, there's one family where each one of the family members had managed to get into Oxford by the time they were like 11 years old. They managed to score the highest score in their GCSEs. I think there's a similar story happened in Netherlands and similar things happened in the US. But Nigerians in Nigeria can't achieve because the state is so weak, so run down, so driven by austerity measures, so reliant on IMF loans and structural adjustment programs, that it can't do anything to the huge potential that it has. 210 million people, young population, brilliant minds, but starved by neo-colonial puppet regime after neo-colonial puppet regime. We're just hoping that the latest threats by Trump has just woke a few people up. Because if, like we've mentioned, if they can do this and threaten and essentially delegitimize their client, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, then what's the point of being a client? You might as well take a revolutionary path. The Ibrahim Traore, the Abdulrahman Tiani, the Assima Gota have taken in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Because if you don't, they'll still come after you anyway.
And there's a small group of, I mean, I don't know if they're super small, but there's a group of Shias inside of Nigeria who've also been heavily persecuted, led by Ibrahim al-Zakzaki. He's a Shia leader inside of Nigeria who has strongly disagreed with the stance of the government allying itself with the state of Israel. And he's actually called for unity with the Christians there. And he has supported resistance groups, of course. But he and his family have been targeted. I mean, I think the Nigerian military actually executed his sons in front of him. And what can you tell us about Zakzaki and this kind of Nigerian alliance with the state of Israel and how that's affected the country?
Yeah, I mean, Sheikh Zakzaki has been persecuted, arrested. You mentioned it, right? His son has been killed. The thing is, when you're running a heist, you're very worried about any potential popular movement that's going to recognize this is a heist and convince other people that this is a heist. So Nigeria has always persecuted community activists, community leadership. One of my former African Stream colleagues, David Hoyunde, he's an exile. He can't go back to Nigeria because he helped to expose Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been a US CIA asset way back from when he was the governor of Lagos. So the persecution of Sheikh Zakzaki didn't start with Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It's been going on from successive Nigerian governments, precisely because it's not a real state. It's a robbery of Nigeria's resources by European Western elites with the collaboration of the middlemen who happen to be the Nigerian leadership, the Nigerian governance, the governor of Lagos, the Nigerian president, the Nigerian foreign minister, etc. And Nigeria is one of those countries where they know the state has been systematically robbed because every single one of them goes abroad for their medical treatment. Yeah, Bola Ahmed Tinubu just came back from a foreign trip for his medical treatment. Buhari, his predecessor, was always in London for his medical treatment. How can you be the president of your country, but you're saying our public services, our private services are trash? I'm going to go abroad. You have the power to change that, but they don't change that.